Recording.
Mk3 from Cortina City in a bumper episode. We are back, and in this episode, Richard Valentini goes absolutely mental. Pete C goes absolutely mental. Chris Bradley goes absolutely mental and buys a Mk3 Cortina. Richard works on a whole new automobile. You're about to be surprised. Automobile reveal. I press the button. Come and see what we've bought. We've had a breakdown. Check it out. Just check out the latest Cortina at Cortina City. This episode's full of fun. There's loads going on. We bought this on the cheap. Needed some work, but with Richard's expert hands, we're going to show you what we've been up to. The Super 88 Mopar engine in it, 440 Mopar, Elderbrook headers. It's quick, it's fast, it's noisy, it's throaty, it's a yank tank. It's a 7.2 litre if you do your conversions, if you do your subs, and it ain't good in the recent fuel crisis. In fact, we got assaulted on the forecourt for filling it up. More about that later, but have a quick look round it first before we take you out on the road. You're ahead in time slightly, because this episode's filmed. The end of this episode's coming on at the beginning, but it doesn't matter. This is the car. And I don't know why I'm talking in a high pitched voice, it's because I'm so excited. Look at the details. Just imagine impaling yourself on that. Whoa, lovely stuff. 1957. And we're going to show you lots of this car. This is the intro to the film. Everybody goes crazy in this film. There's lots to see, lots to do. So let's cut to it. Pete C, Cortina City. Welcome back. We've got a lot of work, we've got Richard Valentini, we've got everything on this episode. Jump aboard and tell you what it's all about.
Folks, we are back. Pete C is back for a Patreon only video. Sorry about the 3-month delay as I got my head together. I think through the progress of time, everyone will probably work out what happened. I never want to make anything public. Suffice to say, I had to get better. I kept going, but I had to get better. As I meet you all one by one, I'll tell you what happened. I'm not into sharing my life, personal stuff. You always knew that. So, Ruby has been my daily driver throughout my 3-month recovery period. And it's been hammered. But it's been going good. Me and Richard fitted a Richard Valentini Couture. Fitted a cam belt, new cam belt, and we fitted a lower crankcase seal because it was chucking oil out, but now it's dry as a bone. Running very nicely. Bramble's gearbox failed during the time. We'll talk to you about the gearbox situation in Bramble at one point. New gearbox, and it fails. Also, we did our midlife crisis, and we went Mopar. Oh, we got a Super 88 here, folks. A beast that is so powerful that it ripped the tyre off the back. No, it didn't actually. The tyre blew on the way I come in bringing it back from Hereford, which is where I picked this Super 88 up from. Super 88 then, it's an Oldsmobile 1957 two-door coupe, and we are currently doing some work on it. It's got a big block 440 Chevy engine in it with Elderbrook headers and quite a lot of work. We'll have a look under the bonnet throughout the course of the day. But before we do, we're going to see Richard himself. He's busy working in the workshop. That's what workshops are for, by the way, to work in. Want to look at a dash? You want to look at, ain't that a honey? You want to look at a dashboard? Ain't that a honey? acres of chrome. It's been retrimmed. Someone spent a lot of money working on this vehicle. I got it at a good price. One of the reasons I bought it. But there is another reason why I bought this, which will become apparent during the course of the next few months. Inside the workshop we have, hang on, workshop's very empty. We've got the heater box from it. This is a 57 Oldsmobile heater box that was in a bad state of play. It was seized up and the backing foam here was all corroded, so it wasn't, well, there's no heater box. There's no blower in the engine bay because the engine is so big that there was no room, so they've taken the blower motor out of the engine bay. So we've built a blower motor box, which I'll show you later. As we fitted it, we realised that air wasn't really flowing in the places that it should because this air box here was leaking. Its backing plate that seals the air in has crumbled away and lots of the air was just escaping, so this wasn't pressurising up. And these vents here, which are vacuum operated, they were seized. So we've unseized those, and these are the vacuum diaphragms. It draws off the vacuum reservoir in the engine bay. Luckily that's still there, and it operates the levers inside, so you can get stuff like the flaps opening, because we were getting no air coming in. Even though we'd built an air box and a nice blower motor, we were still getting nothing coming in, so this was jammed shut. These controls that are linking both vents on this rod were seized, but now we've unseized everything and put it all back together. We're now making a new backing plate out of hardboard because this one's gone. So it was a kind of hardboard material if you look, but very crumbly, and it had some insulating material, probably for sound deadening and heat insulation from the bulkhead. So this does go up against the bulkhead below your feet, behind the dash. Not too bad to get out. Your demister vents are here. It's quite clever how they do the demist, or they call it defrost. You've got a vacuum switch, a bank of switches on the dash, which are basically vacuum switches. Valves are not electrical switches, so they'll send a vacuum signal to the various operating rods and diaphragms. But what they did to get boost, there's a little micro switch here. Can you see that? What happens under certain conditions is one of the diaphragms operates probably when you press the defrost button and actually puts full power to the blower motor, which then gives enough force on these butterfly vents, which gives you defrost. I would assume that's how they've done it. So you've got also a resistor bank here, so the higher coiled resistor will be for slower speed, and then this less wound one, lower resistance, for faster speed. And then so it will never be running at full power even though you put it on fast. This switch here would then run the motor on full power, which would have enough force then to lift these, and at the same time it closes these vents. So defrost is what we were really trying to get, because the reason we got onto it was because the windows steamed up when I was with the waitress from the diner bar. We steamed up the windows. More about that later on. Now then, we are operating. Have you got your you've got your dump valve open, I think there, Richard? Oh, we're opening. We're in the game. So that's inlet, and down it goes. Did you see that? You can see that? Ain't that, honey? Ain't that fantastic? Just look at that action. Ooh, look at that action. Nice action, Richard. Give me some micro switch action down here. You'll get it on the master one. I think that's the halfway one. I think you'll get it on this. Lovely stuff. Bit of washer tube. So this will activate now as Richard pumps away those gristly muscles, pumping away, and you can see that the micro switch now operates there. And look what it does, folks. It closes these down. Richard, release all that pent up pressure. Now pump away. Oof, oof, them gristly muscles go. Right. Closing the vents, giving full power now so that you're getting all your air pressure to the butterflies, and at the same time closing the micro switch here, thus giving full 12 volts to the blower motor, overriding the resistor bank there. So the resistor bank never, even though it'll be on full power, never gives you full power because of this final resistor. So you basically got 3 speeds available: slow, almost fast, but when this micro switch goes across, very fast, which gives you defrost, and away you go. So we've now repaired that was broke. New backing plate going on. Got to get under the car and refit it. A little bit fiddly. Some of the vac lines were missing, some of the vac tubes were missing, so whoever's messed with the car's never gone to the detail of getting everything running. But you know what we're like at Cortina City, we like things to work. And don't worry, we're not just going to be doing American cars. As I said, it was a diversion for me. The reasons why I got the car will become apparent as my life unfolds. I'm not going into that now. Some of you who know me may have worked it out, I don't know. But, we may have a copyright issue on the radio, but I don't think so. It's probably not loud enough, Rich, but we've just got to watch out for Jimi Hendrix there. Workshops clean, a lot's been going on in the last 3 months. Well, I'd say in the last month, the 2 months was me getting better time, and I appreciate the patrons that stuck with me. And don't worry, for the ones that left, I understand there was nothing going on. I don't blame you. You can always come back, or you can just watch on YouTube if you don't want to rejoin Patreon. There's no offence taken. Don't you worry about that. I understand totally. I appreciate everyone who stuck by in the dead times. But Papa just got me all fired up again, as did the 57 Chevy. It's now time to jigsaw away. The muscles from Brussels are back. The muscles from... Go on, my son. The muscles from Brussels are back. Okay, boss. Okay, boss. Right, we're going to get this fitted. We'll see you very shortly. Have you heard about Parkers who build Rolls Royce? Is it Parker? Who's the Rolls Royce building company? Park something they're called.
Right.
Park Rolls Royce, the coach builders for Rolls Royce. Park somewhere. Not Parker Knowles. Park Ward. You heard about Rolls Royce Park Ward? How about a heater box by Richard Valentini, coach building house? This is our heater box, mocked up at the moment. We've got a Valio fan in there, powerhouse, and we're just testing the controls, the speed controls, whether or not they can take the current. Here they are. Now they're normally air cooled, so what we'll do, we connect this wire up and we'll just see that we do get speed control. So this is slow, and the slow will give a glow because those coiled up resistance wires there will get hot, but they're in the airflow, so the glow's in the flow, and that keeps them cool. That's a common practice with these resistors, to have them mounted. You might have seen them on a modern car. They're often mounted in the airflow, which keeps them cool. So there's lots of O words here: slow, flow, and then blow. That's me. And it cools down. Here's the fast one, lower resistance, it'll give you faster speed if you listen. There's our speed control. I think that this will be sufficient to run it, even though this motor amperage here will be a lot more than what would have been fitted to the car. Let's have a look at the heater box. Unclip there, Richard. flip round. We had to build this because the engines are bigger, because it's a 440. Is it a Mopar block?
Yeah,
Mopar. I've got a Mopar engine. I know nothing about American cars, by the way. We built this to get round the engine. They never fitted it to the car, so whoever's had this car before me has done without a heater. So we wanted a heater, so we built this. You've got your fresh air intake here. By the nature of the squirrel fan, or the squirrel cage fan, you can just see it there. We all know that air is inducted into the centre, and then with centrifugal force and the direction of the blades forces the air out, actually pressurizes. That's what this baffle plate's for here, to create a pressure chamber. So you've got low pressure this side, high pressure this side, nowhere else to go except out the vent into the car. That comes into a ducting, which then comes into here. Sorry, the other way round. No, that is right. Yeah, that is right. Come the other way round, and then you are airflowed up into the car. So that's how it's working. There's a radiator as well, but we don't know. Someone fitted this radiator over here. That does fit in the baffle box in the engine bay. I'll show you that in a minute. This radiator was obstructing the flow. We have mocked up the fan and it seemed to be just trickling into the cabin. That's a combination of this having a bad seal and probably the matrix here that's been retrofitted. This is not the original spec heater matrix. I think those fins there are too finely pitched, so we've got another one out of a transit which you can see through a bit better, more of a honeycomb. This will probably allow air to pass through. This is an unknown factor, whether the radiator is going to block too much airflow. We don't know that till we get this fitted in. But the name of the game today, there's the I keep going, I'm going to call it caddy every day. There's Yucky 793Y UK Oldsmobile 57 two-door sedan. Rich, is it?
Two-door, yeah.
Two-door, is it sedan? Because the word sedan confuses me very much. Let's go and have a look at it, because the patrons will be wondering what's happened at the Cortina City. Well, it's all part of the mix. There's our big block. Elderbrock headers, Rich.
Elderbrock heads.
I need Richard here to tell me about these things.
Elderbrock heads and Elderbrock inlet manifold.
What's our carburettor, boss?
4-barrel Holly.
4-barrel Holly. And what do you reckon the horsepower is on this bad boy, a pop?
Around 400 mark.
Whoa! We're going to be smoking some wheels. Here's that inductor, that plenum here. So that's going, our heater box sits on top. You're straight through there, in to the cabin, and then that box is distributed along where your feet go. So bit by bit we're going to piece it together. It's a little bit random today. I've not been filming for a long time. Someone spent a lot of money on this. Look at that custom built radiator, twin Kenlow fans on it. The heater matrix pipe's been blocked, as you can see there. Power steering, of course. Retrofitted washer bottle. But a nice cooling system. Initially the guy was having problems with it overheating and then not starting. We actually found the fault, one of the reasons we got the car cheaper. We found the fault for the non-start. It's got a high torque starter motor just down here. When the car was warm, the resistance on the starter motor windings went high, and then your volt got too much of a volt drop, so the engine wouldn't start when it was warm, and no one could work out why. Me and Richard did. We just added an extra power feed cable to the solenoid. Job done, and car repaired. So we got a bit of a bargain on the car, but don't tell anybody. Right, back to this. Heat C's electrical department saved the day. Let's just hope that Richard Valentino's engineering skills can get us in.
And the tape's temporary for now.
The tape's temporary for now. Oh, this is just, we're going to silicon this up, but all our silicon tubes. Here's one for you. Look at this little diversion. Off we go. Still got the Converses on. They're not looking good. Anyone want to send me a new pair? Thank you very much. Every one of these tubes has gone solid. Oh dear me, we chucked them all away. Right, let's get to work. We'll cut the oval out here for the air intake. There's a very curious, and American fans might know this, perhaps Greg's Workshop knows. There's a box here, we don't know what it's for. It leads to a flap inside that box we're just doing. It just doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't go anywhere, but it connects to the heater box inside with a flap. The flap must have had a solenoid on, a vacuum diaphragm on the side here, and there's a rod, and the flap opens and closes. So you've got one flap coming in, which is the radiator side. The heater side, you've got your intake there. But also, you've got this box on this side, which I don't know what it does. It's got no outlet. I can't see its function. I'd love to know what that is, but it's accessed. Let me show you, in case anyone can work this out. The church bells are ringing. I've no idea why. It's but it's a Thursday. Here's the flap. It's just here. Let me see if I can get you on. Where are you? We're back to that where are you situation. There we go. Look, this flap, what the hell is it for? We know we've got air coming in over this side. Where am I? Yeah, there we go. We've got air coming through there. But why would you have a flap here going to a plenum inside the engine bay that doesn't have any exit or any airflow attached to it? It's like dead-ended. We don't know what we're going to do about this. Either we have to tape it shut, not use it, but then mind if we find out later on that it's needed. I don't know. We're going to have to give it some thought. Out of the car we go. It's all in bits. You can see the auto electrician who had it before me did this because he couldn't work out how to do this, but we have now started to get all this working. Horn ring doesn't work, but we need to get that fixed. You can see it's been retrimmed. My shirt's in the back there from the dry cleaners. Not got chrome on the bumpers. Obviously it's a budget job. It's not a concourse machine. I like the little rough edges on it. That's how I'm just going to run it. Rough and ready.
Patina.
Patina's the word of the excuse for a rotten car is patina these days. What an excuse. It's got its place if it's done right. Drill and cut. Let's get back to work. Okay, we're in. Richard's on the camera. I'm here. We have pre-installed this loom. We're happy with all these controls. I'm going to show you how this boost system works. So I've mocked it up. There's our Valentini system, our battery, earthed the motor. This is a pre-made unit at the factory. The wiring arms will be on a plug here, so they can just drop them into the cars. That's the output, positive output to the blower motor. So grounded up. So here we've got fast, slow from what I've worked out, and then when we operate the vac pump, I'll take over the camera. Rich will do that. So if I put the positive to here, we get slow speed. So it's running through that high resistance winding. Then we've got medium speed, or what you just have as fast speed, like that. So if we twist those together, we're running at fast speed. Richard now passes me the camera. Operate the vac, you'll see this go. Dump valve. It's going now, and it'll hit that switch. You get the boost. That's for your demist. So these are closed. That's closed. That's closed. This rod here. Okay then, Rich, release. These now open. So the idea would be when you put it on defrost, it closes these vents here, activates that switch and gives full power to these butterflies here. Do it again. They're closing up. That's it, that's how it works. Okay. We've got our backing cards made over here. Switch off there now. Bit crude for the connections, sorry about those. So we've got our backing plates here. I think that's that end, isn't it? See, it would have been leaking loads of air out of that, wouldn't it? Yeah. None of this would have been sealed properly, so. And then we've got a fresh air vent. Now this looks like just ram air only coming in from what I can tell. There's a flap by the driver's feet. Is that way? Okay, yeah. and this flap here is operated in the engine bay, and there's a plenum in the engine bay, and I think that's purely ram air because there's no motor on that plenum in the engine bay. So, but there is a flap here, so I would have thought when you switch the system off, this flap shuts and you don't get any air coming in. I don't know what these do. That's what I can't work out. They work. Just operate those, Rich. But they don't close. You'd think they'd be the ones that just shut the air coming into the car, but they'd have to be here to do that. Dump valve. Here we go. So we're just using this vac pump, look. So what do they do? Because you would think both flaps would be on both sides of the vents. So I don't really understand what effect that would have. We need to look into it, but that's how it should be. So I don't really know what effect they have. I mean, they give more air to the passenger side. Maybe that's all it does. To get more flow to the passenger side only. I always think things should be symmetrical, but perhaps it's just not that way.
50s technology.
Well, want more air to just the passenger side.
Marilyn effect on the skirt.
Yeah, that's right. Blow up Marilyn's skirt. We better get a woman with a what you would call not puffball skirt. There's a name for it. I can't remember. Anyway, Marilyn skirt. Blow the skirt up. Job. Stockings on. Blow the skirt up. So that's our stockings reveal. Our 50s fashion girl, which we think we can sort out. More of that later. Getting ready to attach the backing board now. Everything's in. Wiring harness tested and working. These faces just scuffed up a bit. Silicon this board, or RV. What's it called? RTV?
Yeah. RV minus.
RV. Make an airtight box, then put some sound deadening on the back of it to insulate it from the bulkhead. These two wires crimped and ready there to plug back into the loom. These heat shrink crimps. I've got to do my bit of silicone now, so I shall catch you shortly. Who's good on heating and vac and keep trying to go. There'll be an optimal point for that. Just try that.
Next one.
You sure? That'll go, you know. Alright then. You win. This motor, folks, didn't work. It's just too powerful and doesn't. It's something to do with the way those blades are. We're just doing a hole for the grommet for the wires to exit the casing. Now, originally the motor we had was fitted at this end. It was this beast, but it just didn't like that position. And keeping it Cortina, we've got a Mk3 4.5 Cortina motor in. So you can see that we've got a baffle plate here. I'll try and show the viewers at home how this has been built. Baffle plate there. So you've got high pressure this side, low pressure that side. The exit at the bottom. We're going to have to blank this off now, so we've made a plate to blank it off because that fan no longer goes there. Luckily the heater box wasn't built too big, so it wouldn't make any difference. So it's basically all we've done is reposition the fan, and now we're in that side of the box, as opposed to how we did have it with this big Valio motor in at the side, throwing itself around, cavitizing and just not working. We had a connecting tube from there to the centre, which is the low pressure side, but it just didn't work. This one kicks out twice as much power, and it just feels right and runs a lot better. So then we can then put this lid back on. It's all serviceable, courtesy of Mr. Richard Valentino Couture. All serviceable. This is now blanked, although you could arguably use it to just check your oil your end of the motor if you ever needed to, but I don't think that's happening. It's sealed, yeah, because you can do it from the top. So this is now glued up. A little bit of sealant on because there's quite a bit of pressure in the box. Rivet it on. I've got some leads now. I've made a patch lead loop here. This now connects to that through the grommet to link into our Lucar connectors in the engine bay. Place this into the old seat over there. He's not moved. And then we'll see what kind of pressures we get coming out of our new heater ducting system. We've put the plenum or the distribution box back in the car, connected up the vac wires, the vac tubes, and the flaps are opening as they should. So all we noticed once we've done it all with this motor, there was not enough airflow, and it's just not. There'll be an application where this suits. I think this is a very powerful blower unit, but inside this actual casing it didn't like it. It's something to do with the design, and I think it's something to do with the pitch of those blades. Not quite sure. I'm going to investigate that further in the future, but for now there's no need. We're running slightly better here. It actually has a lower loading on the switches of the car as well. This motor is probably half the ampage of that, and a good airflow is coming out. We've mocked it up, and it was chucking bits of paper around the workshop quite nicely. Lid on, let's go. You're going that way. We've got a little, we've got our glue. Well, it's not glue actually, it's RV, isn't it?
RV, yeah, RV putting it on as well.
Richard's favourite repair tool. He loves this stuff.
RV putting it on as well.
Who?
RV.
RV put it on.
Me putting it on.
Oh right, oh so yeah, Richard. Yeah, Mr. RV puts on the RV. He covers a multitude of sins with this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. He won't tell you about it. Hey, don't forget to thread the wires through. Oh no, I can do it from the top. Okay. Although it is easier for me to connect up right now, you know. I'll do that. Make life easy for myself. We'll be right back. Yeah, so if we would have used this the motor we've got now, this would have been a closed end. So the reason this is going on, as I said, is we've altered the design based on poor airflow from that motor fan not being suited to the way that we'd installed it. But that's what R&D is all about. You've seen it before on Cortina City. You've seen it here on channel Yucky. By the way, the car is called, the American car is called Yucky. Lucky Yucky. Why is it called Yucky? I'll have to show you in a minute, won't we? Because it's YUK. UK. Okay. Okay, UK. Okay. Bottom box going in, that's going to get its radiator in there later, but before we put the radiator in, which is a transit one, we're going to just try the airflow and see if it's improved with the Cortina motor in. So we have kept it Cortina for you. A few people complaining what you're doing, going over to the dark side of the American. America came to us as predicted, and now it should slot on. It did in the workshop. Does it behave differently in the car? It's on. It's on. Let's connect the wires. Let's see what we get. Ouch! RV. Let's try it out. All the wiring's in. There's an earth link wire goes to the... That's positive. Pink for positive. Yep. Pull that. And then I'll have to put... can get an earth onto that coil. We've put a new coil on, by the way. It's got Lecky ignition. There's the Lecky ignition module, that was already on. Fully rebuilt, by the way, the engine. It's 440, isn't it?
440.
Chevrolet engine.
Mopar.
Mopar. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. Mopar engine. How many litres?
7.
7.2, I think.
Yeah.
440 equates to such. Right, let's start it up. We'll see what we get. It's now time to install our transit radiator, heater matrix, because it never had one.
Units are only on there. Need to thread some cable ties.
Cable tie this onto there. We've got foam pads on here. Someone had already chopped and butchered and tried to put a system in it. I think that the honeycomb was probably a bit too fine to get a lot of airflow through, though it must have done it at some point. And now that's the transit radiator just there. Zip ties to the rescue. Budget and scalper. Let's get this in, then we're almost ready to assemble everything. There's some foam around this to seal it against the bulkhead. Let's do this. The heater box is complete. The fan box is done. I'm going to take you in at the top and see this 57 Super 88 fan box that we've built with a Mk3 Cortina fan. Bolted on there using an old bracket off a coil, electrical ignition coil. You can just see the bracket there. That grips the body of the motor. Standoff bolts, collars, bolted on the side, grommet for the cables to go out there. So everything's good. So you've got two chambers. This is the pressurised side. This is the induction side. So air's coming through straight into the fan. And out the bottom we go into the car. I'll take you now. So that's complete and running. Over to Yucky we go. There's Yucky. Over to Yucky we go, and you'll see that we've got the radiator hoses on. They were ready to go. It was looped over. Whoever had the car never bothered with the rad, or they'd tried to and something had gone wrong. This was just looped or bypassed. Two new hoses in. Then the transit rad in there. Bent the pipes to suit so they come out at the bottom. Zip tied them up round the bay. Now all we've got to do is drop that box in. It's got a gasket. We've made a foam gasket so it meets up to the bulkhead. Here's the foam gasket. We had to go triple deep on the foam gasket, everybody. There may still be some gaps. We'll look at them. We've dumbed up the radiator outlet pipes, or the matrix outlet pipes, into the metal casing because I've got tape stuck to my foot. Well, stop it. So everything's ready. The electrical cable that connects to the heater control switch on the dash is done. We've tested the boost system, so when the vac lines are applied using the vac switches, I'll show you the vac switches because you're going to be wondering, what's he on about? What vac switches? How vac switches? Vac switches? What do you mean? This is what I mean. Here on the dash, these buttons control the position of your vents, and all they do is they operate little vacuum valves. You've got a master vacuum which picks up off the inlet manifold, then it sends it to one of three directions to three different vac diaphragms which you saw earlier on. They're installed inside the top of the box. There's the box just underneath there now for you, and depending on which vac diaphragm activates will depend on whether you get defrost to your feet or slightly to the side, or shut down by pressing off. Everything's shut down and the flap closes, and that's the end of that. So we can do everything that we need there. The fan speed switch even works. It's not the best, it's lost its cut of detent if you will, but it does work. So we've got fan switch working. I think actually that should be positioned in a different place, to be fair. I don't think it should be across there. The clock even works in this car. Look at the headline, it's real nice. It's been retrimmed and repainted. I think it was originally red, this car. But it's very good for the money and for the deal that we got. It's very good. Is Mr. Is Mr. Richard Valentino Couture ready to present his masterpiece? It's a joint effort. Fabrication by Richard, designed by me, I'm afraid. Sorry Rich, but I designed it. I'm taking the credit. Sorry boss. Induction, wobbly fan, that's probably why it was in the stores. Wobbly fan, no, it's all Richard's, all of it. It's what you call combined brain powers. And away we go. He's even making a seal for the lid, bless him. Phew. Above and beyond. And it's overtime as well. Even making a lid, a sealing lid for the... a sealing foam strip for the lid. Attention to detail as always at Cortina City, of course. We've never lost that. Alright, it's rough and ready, but it's functional, it's going to work. It gets us out and about, it gets the car demisting and heat to your feet, which it didn't have. It had fumes to your feet. We'll get this fitted and we'll take it on a little spin, see what we can do. Okay, with the radiator successfully working, it's red hot in there. So there's that box. And our vac pickup just down in the corner, you can see how teed in. See? T. Just here. Gives us vac to the distribution switch banks, but also this side, finally worked out what was going on here. I've took this cover off. I'll show you the cover that I removed. It is just here. There it is. That was over that little flap here. So you can see what they've done to get fresh air into the car. You've got, I'll just remove that clip, you've got a system here of an inlet flap which goes straight to the scuttle, and then an inlet flap that gets you inside the car to the distribution vents. Curiously, it's going to be ram air because there's no signs of a fan being on there. There's a spring missing. You can see I put a new spring here, look. That keeps it closed shut when you don't want any fresh air coming into the cabin. Okay, now then, the servo for it, or the vac puller, you know, your diaphragms that pull the flaps open, you saw them earlier on, was missing. But guess what came to the rescue? No other than a cruise control vac unit, which I had spare. Remember, two of my Cortinas have got cruise control, and I think I just ended up accumulating as many of these as I could. So luckily there's enough throw on it to operate that fully. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the bellows there. You've seen these on the cruise videos on Cortina City. There's the bellows. We're connected to our development pump, our male member vac pump. Okay, so that'll give you the girth that you need, the length that you need of throw on here. Watch this. If I pump nice and hard on this lever, this sort of shaft, you watch that receptacle open up nicely. Look at this. Oh, come on. Oh, please. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh hell. So Yucky now gets an air distribution system running. Look, that's going to get the fresh air in, and then by the shape of that cowling, of course, it sort of whirls around and finds its way into the cabin by the nature of ram air. If I release the valve now, you'll see on this, the vac pump, the P pump we call this, if we turn this little bar, it drops the vac pressure, and you should see these go nicely closed. So we've now fixed that. Now we could have the bellows inside the cabin, or really that's going to cause a kink in the cable, so there's room up here to have that. It's a bit unorthodox, but it'll work. So we'll have that, and then just have the vac tube going through the bulkhead into the car onto the bank of switches. Now let's have a look on Yuck at the bank of switches. Look what we've got inside. Come on inside with me, YouTubers and patrons out there. Come on inside with me. You're inside the cabin now, well appointed. We have here off, medium and maximum what's called ventilation, so that's referring to that flap we just looked at. On the other side are the hot controls. You've got a cable operated lever which will then turn a water valve. You can see, get them off the shelf off eBay. We've already ordered one, thanks Richard for sending me the link. So this will operate the shut off to the water, to the heater matrix, by means of a mechanical valve connected to the end of the cable. We'll do that easy. You've then got some of these buttons here. So off is, I'm presuming off turns the whole system off, including the power to the fan. Curiously, the fan is on all the time on either low or high. There is no off electrical. That's an electrical switch. Here is mechanical. I'm going to presume somehow they've wired that into a switch, but it doesn't seem to kill the feed, the 12 volt feed to the fan. It always runs on the low setting, but that really needs to be fan off. Okay, direct alters the angle of the flaps down by each person's foot, so it points straight at your feet. Indirect moves the solenoid slightly, or the vac bellows slightly off, which pushes the vent flaps and sort of like curls the air round the sides of your feet. I don't really know how effective that is, or the principle behind it. Really, I can't really see what good it is, but they've done it that way. Let's go down and have a look. I'll show what I mean. Low flying aircraft going over, sorry about that. You'll see these are directional. They can be fully closed, which is for the defrost position. So we hit the defrost switch on the dash at the both vac bellows pull and close these flaps completely, thereby pressurizing the plenum and forcing the air up into the demisting vents, which are not mechanically operated. They work simply off the volume of air pressure. We fitted new rubber bump stops to them because they have a tendency to rattle, or it looked like they would have done if we hadn't put the little rubber bump stops on them. So you've got little flaps. You might have seen them earlier on in this clip. So that's how that goes. So the heater system, I'm not getting the directional thing correct. We could have the vac pipes the wrong way around. Bear in mind that 2 vac pipes on this system were missing, and me and Richard have guessed what we think is the correct orientation of the pipes, but it could be that either the mechanism sticking, although it didn't seem to be when we had it out, or we've just not quite got them tubes right. But we can do that with our P-pump in the hand and give it a nice jerk, and that'll help us to find out which way we're meant to have the vac lines. They can be accessed in the glove box here, no problem. We're not going to worry about that just yet. We're going to concentrate on getting the vac tubes to here. So we need to get under the dash, we need to get a torch out. There's no vac tubes connected, they've all been pulled off. We need to tee into our vac line, our master vac line. We've got a T-piece, and then pressing these should give you 2 levels of vacuum. I would presume that by pressing maximum it's going to allow maximum vac, and I would imagine that medium is going to be some kind of constricted outlet, thereby giving you about 50% of the vac pressure. I would imagine that's how they do it. We'll soon find out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go under the dash, tee into this control box. It's quite difficult to get to. We can't work out how to pull the dash out on this. It would be easier if it was. I can't work out how to get this panel out just yet, so I'll go from the back. I have got a camera which I can feed in to see and help. We managed to do it on the left hand control panel. So it's time now to connect the vac pipe in and tee into the master vac line, and then see if we can get 1 tube into the bulkhead and onto the cruise control bellows, and hopefully I would expect that to work. So we'll now have that fresh air flap working. I just like all controls on cars to be running and operational. A very curious one here, American car owners may know about this. We have a button here for the wiper controls, but it again seems to have no electrical connection. This wiper is actually connected to a cable, so I presume that cable must have operated a switch bank somewhere, and that's now missing. They've put down these switches here. I don't like it, although I can see why they've done it, but it's not for me. one day I'll get these replaced. I don't know where the washer system would have been, unless that was the washer, unless that button was wash. That could well have been wash there. I presume it probably was. Yet I cannot see an electrical connection on that. Very interesting. I'd like to know how that works, but that's all part of the fun. Speedo doesn't work. It's got a different gearbox in it as well, so these don't correspond. This, hang on, let's bring the camera around this way. These don't correspond. Where am I? Here. To the selector lever, if I can find it. There we are. Sorry about that. Selector lever there doesn't correspond. It's a different gearbox. Of course, it's a Mopar engine. Factory radio doesn't work, but we'll get that going. Clock does work though. Some illumination. These panels are illuminated. There's little bulbs behind them. They're all blown, so we need to get them changed so we get all the dash lights up nicely. We'll work on it bit by bit, but for now, as I said, let's get under. Let's get teed in with the vac line pressures and see if we can make that cruise control servo or bellows activate our fresh air intake. And then we need to find a way of turning the fan off, because we are permanently running with a fan. So I'm going to be having a little look over this bank and see if they came out of a way of electrically turning the fan off. They must have done. They must have done. So we'll check that out. We'll be right back. Mk3 Cortina City on Yucky, and news in, of course. I don't know if you've heard it on the grapevine. That Papa, the Mk3 from British Guiana. If you're on Patreon, you'll know all about it. It's been mentioned on some of my Cortina City videos. The Mk3 that's lived in Guiana. It was special Ford build. A unique one-off car, bench seats. Made to look like a GT, but it's not. But it's all done by Ford. Guy Andre very kindly is shipping it over to us. That's going to be an interesting Mk3 project. I'll tell you more about that during the time. Meantime, Yucky gives you some entertainment, gives me a way back into YouTube. Been missing for 3 months. Had to get better. Getting better all the time, getting stronger all the time. Let's get vac tubing. That was a Yucky ramble. Okay, well you can see that clearly that works. The medium one's done by just a little bleed, like a bit of air bleed, but it must have some kind of valve. So we've just gone for maximum control. We're not going to have the medium setting on it, it'll just be max airflow, okay? So I found the master inlet for vac just by blowing through the tubes. I've gone under and connected the tubes up, so we've got the master vac. We teed in down here. Remember we talked about putting a T piece in, so we tee into the master line. Electric fan just switching off there. Okay, so we tee in, find the input to the valve bank. It's just a simple valve bank here. When I went under the dash, not too bad to get to be honest. Let's just shift that selector lever out of the way. So we go off that switch, and as you could see under those shots there of the engine bay, it's working perfect. We'll leave the servo bellows in the engine bay. There's no point in having them underneath the car here, cluttering up the dash when there's room in the bay to have that. So we've now got a fresh air intake, which is good. All I need to do really after that is find a way of turning off the motor. This off switch I think should turn off the fan blower really, because the fan blower's got no purpose on the ventilation bank. That's done by ram air. So really the only reason it has an electric motor is to activate the hot side of things, although you could argue that with the temperature right the way across to cold, and then the fan on, you would get cold air to the feet in combination with ram air if this was open. The only thing I'm not sure about is if this was open and you had the blower on, would the blower just try and blow all the air outside back out of the car in a great big circle, if you will. It's interesting. Without the schematic for this, we're guessing, but at least we've proved that we can get enough Newton meters, grams. What's the pulling force called? Newton grams, is it? Can't remember. Anyway, the bellows work. It's surprising, isn't it? You wouldn't think that just this is actually washer tube. It's not even vac tube. To be fair, this wouldn't withstand any heat on it. If you got heat on this washer tube, it will get soft and then collapse under its own pressure, under its own internal pressure. So you really need to be using vac tube. I haven't got any yet. I'll replace this washer tube with proper gauge vac pipe when we can get some. For now though, we're testing out principles, and we can now close off this box. We can put the bolts back on it. Let's get out of yucky, and we can now put this plenum back. What I'll do is I'll just freshen up the paint here. I'll just give that a rust kill and freshen it up, and we'll grommet off this hole here. We'll grommet that off, and then we'll put a foam sealing pad round here, because that's probably letting some air bleed in. But as you saw on the operation, it was working good. The spring that we've got, it works. We've gripped the cruise control cable with a little P-clamp. Okay, and our vac tube's coming out here at the moment. That needs to be rerouted, because that's one of the holes used to screw the actual plenum to the bulkhead. So we need a route through into the engine bay. I'm looking like probably using this one here, because there's already a hole in the car where there's a cable coming out. So we'll pull that pipe and pop it out through there, and that should get us up and running for fresh air. We'll go and run it and see if we can feel anything actually penetrating into the cabin. But it's important to get the seal all the way around this cowling here to get a bit of a better smell in the car as well. When you prime and paint this, you'll get a bit more of a fresh car smell as well. Even that rhymes. So we'll rust treat that and simply etch prime it. Nothing fancy, and then just put some satin black on there. I'll catch you in a sec. We're going to put this back together. We mustn't forget the foam seal. Very important to get that foam seal. Richard got us some from B&Q, so we should seal up pretty well. I'm going to argue that it probably wasn't sealing very good. Just by looking at the way that is there, I reckon we were getting engine fume smells coming in there too. We're working bit by bit to stop the fumes coming in, because it does smell in the car. Not bad, it's got a lot better since we've been working on it, but when I first picked it up from Wales, you were getting all sorts of fumes coming in to the vehicle. So it's not had that TLC. Great little project though. Someone's done a great job building this. Look at the size of that rad. Someone's put some money into that rad. It's a monster, and as I said, it's a Mopar block. You've got your Elderbrock headers here. Someone's put a lot of time and effort into this, and one of the faults was that there wasn't enough beefy 12-volt power feed coming in from the battery, which is in the boot. So we doubled up the battery feed to the solenoid, because it was lazy on the starter. It still is lazy on the starter, but this time you can always get out, whereas before that battery was doubled up, that cable, you sometimes would be stranded and it wouldn't start till the windings on the motor, the starter motor, cooled down, thus reducing the resistance, thus increasing the current. But as a lot of you who know electronics, increase the voltage and you're able to push more current in. Current's no use without voltage. Voltage is the force that pushes it through. Current's the amount of flow. So that just needed a volt boost more than anything else. Okay, I'm going to get this painted, put it back together. Quite pleased with that quick off-the-shelf innovation using this. Good old bellows from a cruise control Granada Mark III. So bits of Ford infiltrating the Oldsmobile, little bits of Ford Cortina, nope, Granada. However, we digress. Let's get painting and sealing, get this job done. By Jove, we like to get the job done. Okay, this is prepped, derusted, primed, and then just satined down. And we've got that all important seal around it now as well. If you look, that foam seal, what I'm going to do, this is going to get bolted back to the bulkhead of course, but you got to watch it with this, the tech screws which they hold it on with. I'm going to recenter the camera, hold on, let me recenter the camera. No. Okay, this has been rust killed, primed, and then just satin blacked. Or high temp paint. We're out of satin. I put the foam on. Round, they're very important to get that because you'll get engine fumes in, as we said. But with the foam, just gone over the tech screw holes. Can you see that? I've got the soldering iron on. What I'm going to do is just going to burn through each hole, because otherwise what can happen, the tech screw can go in and wind the foam round and rip it back. So you don't want that to happen. So you just want a clean hole. If I put the tech screw in, say here, there, it could, might not, but it could twist and wrap the foam around and sort of pinch and pull it. So instead of that happening, we're going to burn through each hole just this way. You can see it. The iron is on. Sometimes it's hard to know where the hell the camera's pointing. The old usual cliches are back, of course. Burn through. It just makes it that bit neater job. Of course, the iron ideal for this. I think it's a better tool to use to make this than the iron. You can see how that works. So go all the way round, and then we're ready to put that back up. We need to make a little cutout for the cable because obviously it's different than it used to be. So although it does look like there's a cutout here, we might be able to use that one, but the cable's got to come through this for that bellow operation. So obviously we've altered this. In fact, actually that's the bottom. Someone smacked it there for it to clear the engine. Look, bang. They didn't even bother to scallop it out. I'd have made like a nice imprinted shape there rather than just smack that like that. Had a cut and sort of made a nice inlay, but that's how they did it. Right, I'm gonna get this back on the car. We're back on Yucky, and that fresh air intake I was telling you about, tripod stuck to the metal, has worked great. But what I realised is that there's another flap here which we were messing with earlier, and that flap on this box that Richard's doing is needing to close when the fresh air one opens, and that will create more pressurized plenum. When you switch the heater on, you want that flap to open so you can basically have fresh air fully open and hot air fully open. What you don't want is when the heater's off for that flap to be open. So I've got probably one of the servos diaphragms is wired wrong. You want it so that when you turn on your fresh air, it closes the flap on the heater box, so it shuts the heater box off. So we need to rejig that. I've got it set up wrong, but there's no schematic. Without the schematic, you work on guesswork. Richard's doing a cowl, and again I had an idea about the squirrel cage. So here's your squirrel cage, although this is slightly different. It's more a hamster wheel than a squirrel cage. We're going to put a cowling around that, circular cowling, just to give it a bit more flow and a bit more direction. The other thing we've done, I'm sorry, but I'm taking the credit for this one today again. Richard does his bits, I do mine. This is our own vacuum pump. Our own vacuum pump, because using the hand, the Venus pump is not going to get us what we want, because there's slight leakages on those banks of switches on the dash, whereby using the hand vac pump you don't really get a good way of testing all these out. So we're going to get some hose, switch the compressor on. It'll have to run permanently, of course, unless you connected the compressor to a one-way valve and then a canister, which could then pressurize your own canisters up. But we won't do that. We'll just run the compressor. Then we can test the operation of everything a bit more effectively without having the engine running. Richard builds the circular cowling. All this because we haven't got a schematic as well, and all this because the engine's so big that there's no room for a heater box. That's why we made one. But don't forget, we've got a car on a boat. We're going to give you the tracking information on Papa Mk3 special build. As soon as the boat takes off from British Guiana, we shall be tracking that for you. We'll give you the tracking number. You can track yourself if you want. We'll give you the code. Just go on the Shipping Live website. It's free, and you can see Papa's journey across. What ocean would that be? It's going to be the Atlantic Ocean. You're going to be hitting the Atlantic Ocean. I'm sure it is the Atlantic Ocean. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can track Papa. We'll get it off the American theme because it's Cortina City. But why not blend a little bit of Americana in? I like it anyway. Richard likes it. It's Richard's fault. If it weren't for him, probably he spotted it. It's your fault. Your fault.
Guy with the 57 Chevys.
Oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, we've got someone in our village has got a 57 Chevy, a nice one. It's a Bel Air, isn't it?
Bel Air.
A red Bel Air 4-door. Richard saw it. I was like, well, I've always been into the Yanks though. Probably before not before the Cortina. Well, yeah, before the Cortinas when I was like a kid. You know, it was Yanks first. Because Cortinas because of my brother, but Yanks as a 10-year-old kid, you know, you see him on the telly, and yeah, always wanted a Yankee car. That's my excuse. I'll stick to that. Get on with that cowling now. So just slightly increase the performance of the squirrel cage, hamster cage, whatever you want to call it, by putting a cowling ducting around it. See you in a sec. Want this? Lovely stuff. That'll help. There we go.
Just still nice and free.
Yeah, let's give it a little bit. Put the lid on.
Lid on. We need to put a flag on it.
We have got a problem with this bonnet, is that everyone bangs their head on it. I've heard. Who was saying you can get a double hinge? Someone was saying you get a double hinge. Yeah. West Coast.
West Coast.
We'll see if that's improved the airflow. Also, we've got to get a vac switch on this. I think it would have had an electronic vac switch, because otherwise the fan's running all the time. You've only got low and high. I've mentioned this earlier. There's no actual off. I think the off will press on a vac switch, you know, like a micro switch vac, and that'd do it. Sounds better. Sounds like it's got more juice. It does sound better. You know where we are.
Feels a bit better as well.
Yeah, that's improved it. That definitely. Just give it a little bit extra. Probably another 10-15% increase there. If I put a battery in me. Should have put a battery in my anemometer because we could have measured that. Bugger. Anyway.
Another one on the shopping list.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Park closed up as well.
They are. We need to sort that now. Get that working. Do that now.
Yeah, got it.
Right, so bond it. We've noticed. Oh, This is what I noticed. Well, we both did. The are they called headers, these, Rich? Or exhaust gasket anyway.
Oh yeah, headers.
On the header, that's blown. If you look, you can see it's spin. You can hear it. You can hear it sort of making a spluttery noise. So that's not the best. But we haven't got one of these. We'll order one. But before, just to keep it going for now, we're gonna use this exhaust sealant. It's good strong stuff. This. So that'll do it really nice for heat resistant decorator's cork. So we'll put the decorator's cork on here. I'll just push. Put plenty on. Now those big oval holes, Rich, do I just push this into the cylinder and just fill it? Yeah. That's one cylinder full. Two cylinders. Whoa, gooey stuff. There we go, should help with that. Good stuff that for exhaust. Cool. We have the engineering skills of Richard Valentini Couture making a power steering bracket, because the ones that are on this car were not made properly. The power steering pump was flexing, belts weren't lined up, so we are on with, or Richard is on with making a lovely new bracket to make the power steering pump nice and solid and secure, and so that the belts line up. So a bit of die grinding to make an elongated slot. He's made this bracket here, templated it out, that goes over here onto the back of the pump to stabilise the pump. The pump was just not quite sitting right, it was slightly twisted, the torque was twisting the pump, we were getting belt slippage, just wasn't built right. So a new bracket is being made, bit of die grinding, hopefully be over soon. Yeah, I know, he's bare and naked without any glasses. We have got some. Safety first, folks. Safety first. Fucking hell, sounds like an old rusty bed. Old rusty bed spring. Sounds like you're pumping away on an old rusty bed. Next door neighbour's having it off.
Any Viagra.
Reminds me of my next door neighbour's banging away. And now, Richard, for my genius. My genius. Have you ever marvelled at its wondered at its beauty? The sheer genius. Connect that to that. That's the pure genius of Pete C. Switch this on. Look how we make our own custom made vacuum machine. So I can whoa, blown the compressor. Woo-hoo-hoo. Unless we're at full chat. This is how Pete tests out the vacuum in the Oldie. Whoa! Way! Okay, so we're drawing a vac, just enough. Connect that to that, Rich. Take that off, put that onto there. Now, switch on, and I can go inside the car, test all my vac lines for the HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Switch on. Okay, switching on. Open the door. And inside, a rat's nest of wires and cables and tubes. But I've worked out all the controls. I've even built my own vac switch using a diaphragm off a distributor, micro switch, and a little bracket. You can just about see it there. Let's get the torch on. See that? You ever marvelled at it? It's wonder, it's beauty. And when you switch on here, we get all the controls we want. Ignition on for fan. So if I press off, turns off my fan. Also does all the flaps, all the vents, do all the aircon that we want. Defrost. That opens, we defrost. Full power! Maximum power! For the defrost. Indirect. Now you'll see these grills, Richard will shine the torch on for us. You'll see that these grills here are now directional with the buttons. Can you see those moving? For direct and indirect control. And then press for defrost, shuts down. Boost. Well, it will boost if we had enough vac power. It will boost. The boost switch doesn't quite, it just wants a bit more WD. There it goes. So we now got the demist situations, that's coming out at the top. We've got everything that we want. We can switch it off if we want. We've got everything that we want. We have got everything, folks. Everything that we need is now connected. I've worked out all the routing of the vac tubes. We've improvised, we've overcome and we've adapted, and now we're going to go and get some tubing and some bits to tidy all this up. We're good to go. Give the compressor a rest. Mock up the bracket. Lovely stuff.
Spacer.
A longer bolt. Oh yeah, with a longer bolt and a tubular spacer to keep that parallel. No point angling that bracket. The forces are best transmitted all the way down rather than slitting it. We were going to slit that bracket and then weld it in an angled position, but that would require a double bend. Also, forces are better off being transmitted straight. I would say really the tube wants to be there.
Yeah, wants to be there like that.
That'll be a lot better. And that'll stabilise the power steering pump. We're going to get some new belts while we're out. We're going to go to the auto factors. Also get some sealant for the gasket for the headers here. We won't be. I've found out that putting in the caulk didn't work. It seized the engine. So Pete's caulk idea was bad. He's really bad. How'd you like the rockets? Look at that for a rocket. Have little LEDs in the front there if you wanted. Wow. Go on, Yucky. You're Super 88. Super 88. Wonder what the 88 actually referred to. It must have a significance.
It was 88, 98.
And that's all done. Look at that, all done. I'm not sure that cowling may create a rattle, but
I think we need to put another bit on.
Look, we could get that. How the big ends are gone. No, you could just, couldn't you just rivet through there? I'd just rivet through there. That'll do that. I reckon keen viewers would have spotted that. I bet Andy, Cider Andy would have spotted that. Oh, they've not connected the side. Cider Andy. Eyes like a muckhouse rat, that fella. Mr. Gray, of course. Hello, Mr. Gray. Over on the eastern seaboard. Yeah, and Andy calls this a Cresta. A Cresta with an American engine in it. PA Cresta with an American engine in it. It only cost us about 500 quid to come and see you, Andy. Let's get out. We're going to go out shopping now, get some parts, have a little bit of R&R. And then Cortinas are imminent. They are incoming. Don't you worry about that Cortina. People commenting already what's going on, why the sellout over to the western seaboard. Straight across from my house is New York, would you believe? And almost a straight line, I think. I'd check that on the map, but I'm sure once you've got past Ireland, the Isle of Man, Isle of Man first, then Ireland, then New York. Hot in the city, as Billy Idol said. See you in a sec. Well, we've got to go and get essential supplies. Got a job list somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. Job list. Factory sheet of metal for Andy's car. What about the belts?
Shit.
The belts.
The belt. I've got a belt.
What should we do? Just run with them?
No, we'll just go and get it.
Oh, what a pain. The belts.
Trying to we got everything.
September.
At least we're only here.
September. Chumming away. Hell yeah! Could get us back in the game with Henry if that motor's not seized. Looks a later model as well. We'll be taking that back. Red seat. That's got to be an old fairground like that, by the way. I better check with Norman about it. Chilled up in a sec. I'm just going to pass the camera to Rich. We're on his phone because I forgot to bring mine. Spin that around. Tell you what, mate. I've always wanted to be. My girlfriend will love this.
Bob the Builder there.
No, she'll love this. Nothing on, just this. Tilt. Tilt to hell. Oh, she'll love that. Alison will like that.
What about your nice retro chair?
Yeah, I tell you what, actually, that's cool. Or, if you want, a cod piece.
The old Scots there.
Paint it red and I'm cami off. Word up, word up. I love this place. Come around and have a little look what we've got going on. S&P must have had a bad day. Look at this. What we got going on, Rich?
Bulkhead blanking plate.
Bulkhead blanking plate.
Yeah.
Grommets to fit. A little pause for the air compressor. Okie dokie. Like that. That is for the area down here. There's a whopping hole there. So we need to sort that out. Right into the cabin. Fumes galore, but because our trip to the scrapyard was successful, we've now been able to fit the valve. There it is, the hot cold shut off valve going to the matrix. Cable here, these were the cables we salvaged out of the yard, the Bowden cable. There's a joining piece inside the car, probably not accessible. I don't know if you want to get the torch, Rich, on this, because
Set up under there.
we're fresh back from the scrapyard and we've done what we had to do, which was extend the original heater control cable. Can we see it in the glove? But oh, we can see it here. Just about. You can see an aluminium plate, then two P-clips, then a block connector between the two to basically just extend the Bowden cable into the bulkhead. And of course now we build a bulkhead closing plate, stop the fumes coming in. Originally on the car, most likely the valve, the heater valve, closing valve and opening valve would have been probably bolted up there. Indeed, I can see a standoff bracket, it's probably fitted there, but we can't do that, we have to adapt as we go. So we've tested it and it works. I've been tidying up some cables, done the rest of the vac tubes, so Richard gets on. But we had a struggle with a cable yesterday, trying to attach it to the operating lever behind the dash. Took about an hour and a half and was a mega test of patience. The difference between doing a job and not is, can you be patient? Me and Richard, we were patient. I'm now rewrapping this loom, which I thought was a mess, and it didn't have a self park on the wipers. It was missing a positive feed so that the wiper would self park. When you switch the wipers off, they just land in the middle of the screen. That just needed a positive feed going to it, so I rewrapped that into the loom. Now going through the bulkhead, got a grommet myself going on. Okay, so we're nearly done there. And a modified bracket that Richard was doing there to stabilise the power steering pump. That had a tendency to wander and also not let the belts go perpendicular, or parallel rather is the word. They're now parallel. We need new belts, these are stretched and worn. we've ordered some belts. They're off the shelf items at the auto factors. Heater box, of course, as you know, is fine now. And we've now got, you saw me doing the cruise control vac diaphragm just down there, which operates the fresh air intake. You can now mix fresh and warm air together. You can have just fresh air. It's not a fantastic air distribution system. It does work though. It doesn't tend to have jets, vents that blow on your face to give you that cool feeling. It's more of an evenly distributed system. The directional vent flaps work. All the air powered buttons on the dash work. So we've probably got it slightly differently configured than the factory would have, simply because I haven't got the schematic for the vac lines. But the way that I've got it is I can have heat, I can have fresh air and heat, I can have defrost. The defrost booster for the fan motor works, so it's triple speed fan, slow, medium and fast. Fast only comes in when you're defrosting. You can't access fast off the heat control switch, you just have slow and medium, which is fine. Slider control then, over here we go for the slider control for the heater. You'll see that this operates that valve we've just fitted. Valve was only £9 off eBay. There's the slider control. It doesn't go all the way back. Reason it doesn't go all the way back is the action on the valve itself is not sufficient to create the swing which this has got. Now you could get round that by altering the bracket on the valve itself by making a longer operating bar, but it's not necessary. We'll shut off at that point. So that's done. Richard goes in for the bulkhead closing plate there. I tidy up a few wires. Here's the positive feed to connect into the wiper fuse circuit so we get self-park. A couple of other things to do. I'd like to eliminate this at one point, this metal panel, and have all these controls working as they should. Curiously, the wiper control switch, very interesting this one, a push button here which I think is an air vac, and a wiper rod control. So this actually operates this cable here for the wipers. I can only assume that that would go to some kind of micro switch, else why would you have a variable control? Is it speed control? I could do that. I could connect a variable resistor, called what you'd call a sliding potentiometer, to this cable. It's been done on Ruby, on Bramble, as a speed control. I could fit a speed controller to this cable, which would then control the speed of the wiper motor. So this could be made to work. I think that push button there is a vac switch for the washers. I think that's the washer button, I really do. And on the back of this switch are two vac connections, so would presume you'd have your master vac going in, press that to create a vac, which would then go to a vac switch, which would then operate the washer motor, which would be very easy to do considering that the washer motor wires are easily accessible on this panel. So that's something I'm going to be adding. I'm going to order myself a vac switch. I know that I built my own one with an old distributor vac diaphragm, but I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to order off eBay a vac switch. Something around 17 HG should do the trick, or 10 HG will do it, to be fair. 10 HG onto the vac line there, onto a micro switch to get your washer control. Indeed, I might try later, if time allows, to fit the master vac line into this switch and just see if it goes tsh, tsh. Do you like that? When you press it, I think that it will. Wiper control cable is stiff, so that would need freeing up. Then we'd connect, as I said, the variable resistor, the sliding potentiometer, a linear one, to this, and from that it would go to a speed control circuit, typically a PWM unit, which is pulse width mod. It's just a way of controlling motor speeds at high current. And again, you can access the motor the motor speed control here, fast and slow. I'd just connect this to just the fast winding. We wouldn't use the slow winding because this button would then be taking over the entire operation of fast and slow. That's something to do in the future. It'd be nice to get that going. We could then probably eliminate most of this panel. The horn switch is here, and that needs to be on the horn ring. The horn ring's not working. We don't know why. I've took it apart. I can't work out the principle of operation. I can't see a cable that goes to this. So we need to get a detailed picture of the steering wheel and work out how that horn system works. There doesn't seem to be any kind of, there is a contactor plate, but there's no cable going to it. The steering column itself, curiously, is not earthed, and I'm wondering if the centre shaft of the column somehow transmits the earth signal for the horn, and that's how they've done it. I don't know. I don't know how they've isolated the shaft. It could be that it's got a rubber linkage halfway down, then a pickup wire, but I've not seen that yet. Again, the factory manual is going to be needed for that. The radio itself doesn't work, it lights up, doesn't work. That needs taking out and modifying to MP3. Another job for us to do. Accelerator pedal was modified, that's okay now. So we are slowly working our way through this project. I just like all the controls to be working, and I don't like this. I understand it had to be there, but I don't like that. I want it out. Bit by bit, we will work through Yucky. There's some illumination bulbs need fitting. All of these panels here are illuminated. The bulbs are missing, and indeed, when you do put an incandescent bulb into here, which I have poked through, the illumination of it's very dim. So these definitely need LED. The illumination on these Perspex panels that indicate the heater controls on both sides, the ventilation, that side of course, coming into your screens right now, is very dim. That has got a bulb in it, went out last night. You can see it lit up just about, it's not bright. And again, also there's a lamp for the gear indicator, but that's actually a wrong bezel because it's got a different gearbox, so it doesn't correspond to the pointer indicator. That wants remaking into the correct acronym, not acronym but decals. Well, probably is, they are. Well, not quite acronyms, they're just single letters, but you get the idea. Courtesy light missing on this side, courtesy light that side working on the door switches. You can just about see it. Bang in the middle of your screen. Bulb missing here. They're a rare 2-pin bulb. Earth and positive on 2 pins, similar to a stop and tail, but not dual filamented. Just using the 2 pins as pos and neg. So that's a special type of bulb. I've found that on eBay, so that should be arriving any minute, which means we'll get the courtesy lights going. There's a courtesy light override switch which doesn't work, presuming the cables have come off. That would just turn them on when the doors are shut. There's curiously no interior roof lamp. I think there should be. It's not there. I can't feel the cables. I'm talking quite fast. 10 caffeines, and the Dremel's out. I could do with it. I've got to go to the dentist. 3-month checkups, and 3 months ago my back upper molar was fine. Now it's got a gaping hole in it. We know it's got a gaping hole in it because we've had the camera in my gob, and my tooth is in agony. I'm going to either get it ripped out within the next hour, or the drill will be out and I'll have a filling in that tooth. It's not as painful as it was yesterday. Anyway, that's not
open wide.
Oh my God, please. I may as well, yeah. That'll do the trick. Open wide. Oh my God. I tell you what, if you were stuck on a desert island, I think it'd be mole grips, Rich, right on the molar, and you'd have to just whack it like Tom Hanks does on Castaway. He uses the blade of a roller ice. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, that's the ones. Oh, look on your face when we do that. For a man that's scared of spiders, to be pulling out Pete's teeth. I've got all my teeth actually, so they're all in good order except this one at the back. And yeah, if I ever lost any further up, they'd be getting implanted because I'm vain like that. We digress, of course. I'm going to finish this loom off, and then at 12:10, it's dentist time. Wish me luck, Richard, wish me luck. I'll be back with a report shortly. Yeah, switch it back on.
Turn the radio down if you can.
That's alright for now. We are doing the seat brackets now on Yucky, okay? So it's a bit of a video. There's all sorts going on today, but Richard's built these extenders. The seat on Yucky is just too close to the dash for my liking, and even when I put back, what's that noise? What the? It's an Mk3 Cortina. I don't believe it. A 7-point turn to get it down there, Chris. Chris is coming in his Mk3 for us to review as well, so it's all going on today at the city. Do about an 8-point turn.
Like
Well, we know he's not very good at reversing. Come on, Chris, it's a straight line. What are you stopping for? More of that in a minute. So brackets go on. I'm doing I've just whacked a little quick schematic up on the board. This is the switch layout for the wiper control I'll be doing. Don't know where my little kit is, but I've been building the kit. Richard's got a lot of chain drilling to do. There's now worse than chain drilling, lad. We'll go and do this review of Chris's car, then we'll get you right back onto Yucky. But for now, take a break, have a look at this Mark 3. This is just in. We've been waiting to look at this for a long time. We knew about it. It's got an engine, Chris, anyway.
Yeah, it's got that the exhaust.
Wants just a little bit of weld at the back. Look at this. What a bad boy. Pop switcher off. Let's have a little look round. This is Cortina City, and this is Chris Bradley, aka Crazy Chris. Just needs a little weld on the back of the exhaust. I have seen the car, but not gone through it properly. At that point when Chris got it, we weren't doing any films on the channel, but because we're back, we're now able to do this well anticipated film of this facelift Mark 3. Now, what are we doing? Sebring or Sunburst Red? Sebring. Let's sit in. Now, I want you to watch very carefully about what's going to unfold before your eyes. With about what's about to fold. What's about to unfold before your eyes. We got there in the end. Mileage is genuine at 35,000. Okay, so facelift car. And I can tell you straight away, the eyes are drawn straight away. Just looking at the interior before we go around the bodywork, there's a piece of plastic here. That's factory protective piece. Hasn't even been took off the car, okay, from when it's come out of the factory. Completely undamaged. It's probably the best crash pad top I've ever seen. There's a dealer sticker there on the glove box. Very nice. And look at this chrome, okay? So people who know facelifts are going to know about the chrome level. This normally flakes off. It's all intact. Looks like a new old stock glove box. So we're going for the interior first. Does the clock work, Chris?
No, it's not at 8 o'clock.
Okay, it's just
there
twice.
is power to it. I've checked if there's power to it.
I've got one of them, you know.
So it's probably the
Right.
mechanisms.
Okay,
Maybe.
I'll have a look at that. Original single pin door buttons. They're normally gone. Let's have a look round the interior then. So, okay, you get your normal creasing on the seats, but they're untorn. They tend to sag. You can tighten them. Obviously, that's a retrim job if you want to really go to town. Headlining looks intact, just looking up at that. Straight away, by just looking at this, you can see that it's a very, very original car, that it hasn't been messed with. These are the words that the auto trade love. Not been messed with, never been welded, etc. Those kind of words. Well, they're the words you're going to be hearing right now, because this, I have gone round it, so I'm not going to tell you that I haven't. This is the tidiest Mark 3 Cortina I've ever seen, and I mean it's tidy. Let's go on to the bodywork then, and looking at our usual rot spots. If you know your Cortinas, you'd be looking straight away into this door corner. Absolutely zero. This needs dry storage. This has been dry stored in I would say a dehumidified garage. It must have been, to get details. This is unrestored, by the way. To get detail levels like this, I'll show you a detail level. These galv head screws haven't even begun to tarnish out, showing that the condition, and it's even got the nylon overshoe that fits on the end and normally come off those. That just makes a softer door close. That little nylon shoe you can see on the pawl of the locking mechanism. Okay, comes with these standard trim wheels here, arch trims of course, and then looking for rot on your usual suspects. What's called the ski jump, there's nothing there. Sills are original. All round your wheel tubs is mint. As I say, the cloth has sagged, but that's a minor detail. Doesn't look like anyone's ever even sat in the back of that car. Headlining's perfect, as I said. You can tell as well that centre light hasn't even yellowed out, showing you the amount of run time that it's had, because it's not yellowed out the plastic, and the Fresnel lens is intact. Look, does. Yeah, that's your seal of approval, the sort of kite mark, the green kite mark stickers.
They're
there.
usually not on.
A nice detail. Let me just put your hand back again there, Chris. I see it now. Just getting the viewers so they're centralised on the screen. Carpet's in good order. So the complete dash, everything there that you see. Let's just make sure that we're in. Sorry about that. I've got you now. Everything in there that you see is
original wood dash as well.
Yeah.
Earlier facelift XLs it were black, but that's all the other pictures I've seen are these
yeah.
later facelift XLs. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Chris, could we have a look in the boot?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the car?
I really like it. Yeah. I think it's really nice.
Because obviously you were looking at Mark 4s and 5s. Me and Chris talked about.
I never thought I'd never thought I could afford a decent Mark 3.
Well, this was bought at a good price. We're not going to mention the price because I don't think it's good business sense to do that in case you ever come to sell it. It's your business, but I think you got it at a good price. Lift that. So the latest styled boot liner, which they used, and the original divider there, of course.
Jack's still in.
Yeah, so this is your air plenum. We've covered this on a lot of Cortina City videos. They're often missing. That's the plenum, which basically connects the sort of the air vent channels into the inside of the car and creates a kind of airflow. It's a kind of plenum chamber. They're often missing. When they do go missing, you tend to lose efficiency on the airflow through the car because it loses the ability to transfer across. One thing I do notice about it, and this is completely factory and original, is this paint run here. That's the original factory paint run. They've just obviously pushed the gun into the boot as they would. No real need of detailing of paint in the boot, so they just blast the gun in, and that's an original factory paint run. That's a Friday afternoon job. Jack is present, all correct there. The original fuel cap. The rubber hasn't even begun to perish on that. No stretch marks there, and the cloth liner to stop the pad scuffing, the jack scuffing the wheel tub is there.
That's the original petrol cap.
Yeah, nice gal finish.
It's now got a locking one on
it. These are nice. They've not tarnished, although they look like the stainless on this one, but they're often tarnished. The bolts holding the back, so the lights are clean, and you can see that it hasn't seen any moisture, which attacks the gold passivate. On my cars, when I've done my gold passivate, and it's lasted about a year, and then because I'm taking them out in all weathers, and not, well, actually my garage is dehumidified actually, but I've hammered mine, and that gold finish on certain areas of the car will fade out. Example of it again is on the boot striker plate. Again, very clean, showing low mileage wear on the striker catch here. It's not dug into the metal like they usually do on high mileage cars, so no reason at all to believe that or question that mileage of 35,000. You bet all your money in the world on that. Let's lift the mat on that. That out it comes. Take it away, Chris. Lovely stuff. I need to switch to my vision glasses because I'm struggling to see the camera screen here. We're okay for now. Whoa! Now then, look at this. Later pressing on the as the stamp. They must have used a later stamp because that's got crease marks in the punch. So that's a different punch that's been used on that towards the end of the production run. How many? What range are we on?
1976.
So it's one of the last, isn't it? Yeah. You see now the dye is beginning to wear, and you can see that it's stretched. Oh, it was slightly thicker metal that they used, but that's interesting. I've never seen that before. What I'm looking at here is a rippling effect on the punch of the boot floor, and it shows that there was either thicker metal used or the dye was beginning to wear out. Don't know. Those are factory swirls, are done nice. Okay, look at that for a factory swirl. There you can just see that there's different ways they were done. Not a sign of rot. The cards are in and present for the stop you losing stuff down the side of the inner rear quarters. Butterfly catch present on the spare wheel. 19s to get it off, but Chris has done it hand tight. There we go. Revealing a really nice boot floor. You've got a little bolt come off there. That's probably off one of your boot pleat trims. Don't lose that. Interestingly, they didn't. That's curious that they didn't swirl that one in. Yet they did the others. Find
I've
that
sat on other cars before. Some got done, some didn't.
I've never seen that, but I would say that's the cleanest boot I've ever seen. Even on concourse cars, even on cars, you know, that have been restored, you couldn't get a boot floor better than that. It's completely time warp. Yeah, you've got these later edition which were either to stop water coming in or to slightly improve the vacuum effect on the heater ventilation or the air ventilation system, the airflow system there. Those were added on later.
I think this could be an original wheel as well.
Probably is. Don't see any reason why.
Michelin logo on it.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
I think if the...
Is that alright, that now? We're done there now, Chris. Do you want to do this road test?
Yeah, why not?
Nothing else?
No. Oh, I've got panel for the Astra, so I can do that when you've got a minute.
Rather have my teeth pulled out and do that, mate.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad a job, is it?
We don't do Astras, do we? Tell you what, I'd rather have teeth pulled than that piece of shit. Sorry, mate, I don't mean... In fact, actually, Richard, fucking pull it out. You may as well. Honestly. Get in there.
Pete, that's hardcore.
Well,
That sorted the blooming pain out, didn't it?
that's what I think about your Astra, mate. See you in a bit. Between reviewing Chris's car, I'm also supervising Richard, making sure that he's happy, fed and watered. Answer, no he's not. Or did you get something?
Yeah.
Alright, he's happy, fed and watered then. Because Yuki is ongoing, so we're sort of dual tasking. It will be a mixed video, it's not just going to be Chris's car, although I can extract the footage if we have to. Right, so we've looked at the boot. Chris is very happy with this car. I wanted to buy it off him, he wouldn't sell. Don't know why. He doesn't deserve it if you ask me, but that's Chris, you know. Well, you can't have this, Chris. It's too good.
I know he was about rubbish, don't I?
You can't have this.
I'm loving my life, Christ.
This is just... Well, I've done that. Look what I went and bought. How about the engine bay then? 1.6. There you go from the front, everybody. It's a beauty. It's so... There is some little dings and dents and dings on it, but not many.
You can see about this being a late model.
Yeah,
One of the
you
things.
can see that no Ford badges on there. Yeah, that was only the very last one, you know, that did that. It's the very last ones that put
1976
yeah,
car.
that's it. That last production run, they swapped it across.
And the swapped,
get
the
your-
wing badges are different.
We can get you a cap for that.
Yeah, I need them.
That's very tidy indeed. You can see how they start to go, and it's going to start having its attempt now to do it. So it's going to have a go. But look at that for solidness. You've even got that factory label there on the wiring harness from the wiring harness company in Salford there. Bradstone, I think it was, or someone. Looks really, really original. Plastic heater box, of course. Even got the original hose fittings on. Not going to be replaced with Jubilee clamps. They could be original heater hoses. Unlikely, but it's quite possible. You might be looking at changing them at some point in the future. And that's that horrible carburettor, isn't it? Solex.
Yeah, it works. We've got it. Me and my friend tweaked it.
Yeah.
You know, and got it so it idles better, but it's still a bit. Well, you'll see when we drive it.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go for a test drive. But that's a beautiful engine bay. Was that yellow sticker there on the? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's an approval sticker.
I've not touched it since.
See,
I've only driven it since I've got it.
I did them, but I used dots. And they originally used dots, but they obviously changed. That's a pass sticker. So when they came from, it wasn't Smiths who did this. It was Delonair who made those, and they put those on to say that was past its test.
Yeah.
Delonair units. Again, the core test stickers present there. That's your core leakage test sticker on. Then the actual white sticker, which it wasn't used as a test sticker, that one, it was just a type sticker. There is a difference on them decals from Delaunay, but that's a Delaunay box and it's in good order. You've still got a little bit of trace of galv on the P clips that hold the vac hose in position. Horrible inlet manifold, don't like those. I'd be putting twin chokes on this. I don't think that would detract from the car. Is that an EFL 50 that was with it, the oil filter?
I don't know, just wondering that. Well, I wouldn't have thought it'd be the original oil filter, but
it won't be.
Put the correct spec one on.
Because there's extensive service history with this car. We'll look at that shortly. Motorcraft distributor on it. Curiously, I always thought they were Bosch on the later cars.
They used both.
I know they used both, but
actually, just a pot look which one. Which one you got.
It's true that because the Bosch ones are listed in the early 70s catalogue, so that's probably right. I don't know everything, and I'm not trying to.
Still got this on as well. Which they don't have that anymore.
They don't know. We need to borrow that if we can, please. It's a copy as a template. Yeah. Well, building a switch for the wipers now. The wiper control is a rod type cable with nothing at the end of it. Someone's put switches on. One's on a panel that looks too modern. So I'm building this little setup to push. What's going to happen is the cable's going to come, the P-clip there, and it'll push and operate the two wiper controls that I need. So we've got cable control hitting micro switches. That'll satisfy my OCD. So just nearly done, 2 more wires to connect, and it should be ready to connect into the car. Strip and solder, and we're good to go. That'll get me wiper control on the proper switch on the dash, which is, as I said, cable operated. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll cut there, Chris.
Seats. So what was the problem with the seats then? They won't go back
far
far
forward.
Forward.
Short ass 50s people. So we've extended the bracket. But,
Plus me, thanks Pete.
but we've got a multiple of options now, as well as its original factory runners. We've got a multiple of options and holes with the extended bracket. So we'll be able to take it as far back as we want and get the seat happy medium.
And it'll still have its slide function.
And still have the slide mechanism. Be able to set it on these on the floor, and also be able to adjust it on the side bracket and get it to a comfortable position now.
Very factory looking seat mounts you've fabricated there from scratch.
Not far off. Then set in black, a bit of magic.
Oh, very good. Yeah, very nice.
Just going in now.
Yep, I'll let you go and wait.
Cheers.
Well, we're going to put a P-clip there. The cable's going to come in here, and the rod that pushes in and out when you twist the wiper motor switch will just strike this one first. That's position 1 of the wipers, and then faster it hits the second one. It just goes faster, so fast and slow, and that's it. That's the way around it. Just need to shape this a bit, cut them off so it's rounded, tidy the metal up, but essentially that is it, loomed up and ready to fit. I'm just waiting for Richard to do the seats, which we're nearly on with.
It's nearly finished.
Then we'll pull Yucky into the garage. I think all Yucky's big jobs are done. I just like all the controls to work, and obviously no one's ever bothered to do this, but it cost me nothing. Bit of metal, couple of micro switches. There you go. Back to doing what I enjoy the most, which is electronics. We'll see you in a sec. That is gross. That's my wisdom tooth, and that was buried where the pick is. That's the gum back of your mouth, so no one could ever clean that. That's actually the top. So if I get the torch, turn it this way. There's a gaping hole. No wonder it was there. Look at the state of that.
It might be a bit bright with the direct light. That's better, yeah.
Look at the state of that.
We'll do when the camera decides when it's focused.
So here, that's the, oops,
so
here was the back of my gum. That's the right back of my mouth. So there's no way the toothbrush doesn't fit there. Toothbrush fits here, so it's there, but it's knackered anyway, all black. Look, horrible. But look how deep the hole went. No wonder it was giving me excruciating pain, because the pick's just gone in that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some hole.
It's bored its way in, and there's nothing you could do. So Richard pulled it out. Thanks, Rich, our resident dentist.
See, there's good things about me mentioning my Astra.
Yeah, that's not pleasant. So that's going to put a lot of people off to dinner tonight, isn't it? That's knackered. That is. Oof. And the hole's almost like a round, because I put the camera in. You know, the little inspection camera I use for the engines. And I knew I was in pain, and I come round the side, I could see this edge out. I thought there's a big hole there, this is knackered. But I didn't know it was the back one, I thought it was the one in front. It's still picking crap out of there now, look, oof. Ugh. But somehow, weirdly satisfying. And when it got pulled out, I actually liked it. So there's definitely something wrong with me. Just got to build up the diameter of this so the P-clip will grip it. Very thin. Make this a thicker sheathing so the P-clip will go down on the bracket. Shouldn't take much. Look, one more. Yeah, I'll do
One more layer of heat shrink.
Yeah, just go over it now. That'll do it. P-clip will grip that now. Try that.
There's your P-clip.
It's pretty chunky. So. I think so.
Once you get it tightened.
Yeah, I think one more.
One more.
It's not going to do it no harm, one more. It should just about squeeze over that. Oh, it's not having one more on that size, but it might have it on this size. Yeah, one more of this and that's definitely right.
Yeah, because obviously you don't want the whole cable moving.
No, that's what
just
I mean.
seeing a section.
That's the one. Time to try it out. We'll get the plate and bracket, bolt the P-clip on. We'll resume in a minute, we'll see you in a sec.
Right, you're rolling.
Right, that is our old wiper switch there. So what I need to do is put 3 blade terminals on here to hook in to that, and then it should work. So that's that running. So we've got that running. There's the lever here if you watch that. Quick click.
Let's get in shot, Pete. There we go.
Get that P-clip on. So that operates the switches. Right down it is, all the way flat and all the way up, which is what I wanted. So pull right down, gives you that. The very last minute it's on. If I found it wasn't quite there, I'd just put a little packing piece at the back here and that would help. It's right on its limit, to be fair, although you can twist this in a touch and get a bit more, but we're on nice. You can hear that clicking and it's off on the first one, so that's done. All we've got to do now, there's the old switch, the olds. We don't want that anymore, so we just got to hook that becomes that, same operation, three positions, but they're all female blades, so we need to put 3 male blades on here, solder them on, hook them up, and then I'll insulate them. We'll catch it when we've done that in 2 seconds. Live, so I'm going to have to take that up, which I don't like doing, but so right, so I'm going to take this bit up because see, obviously that's his original wire. There's no point in me going in starting to strip all this out when it's already there. This cloth tape's really good. So I'm just going to insulate these. I could put heat shrink over it, I suppose. I've got heat shrink big enough. Just thought of heat shrink would have been better. But this cloth tape's pretty cool stuff. Proper automotive tape, Tessa tape. So that's gone into the original live feed. Make sure we're covered, otherwise we're sparking under the dash. Flames will ensue. So that goes like that, and then you just clip that one into there. That's the intermittent. That should come on first, so we should get intermittent wipers first, and then constant wipers on the full push down, which is how you'd want it. So let's see. Off we go with that. Anything that doesn't pick that label up, but here we go. In there, and then ignition on, and then lever down. This should be intermittent.
Oh yeah.
And it's exactly on par. There you go, and then full down for constant. That's it, we're done. We are controlled on the switch. All done.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice
this is the
proper
switch.
controls there. Intermittent.
No, where's it?
Intermittent. Full.
So and that's the original switch rather than this crappy aftermarket switch down on the on that plate. Because you've got OCD and you like everything being on the original switches.
Yeah, well this
But that's a good thing.
one, that's a vac switch. That's vacuum, and that operates a vacuum switch, which is your washer jets.
Ah.
So that's next on the
So that's the
agenda.
next thing to
I've ordered
fix.
a vac switch for that, and I'm going to put the vac feed in because we've got a vac feed in for everything else. So and it operates the jets. We've lined the jets up so they're bang in the middle of the screen as well, actually.
So what are them wipers? Is it the clap hand wipers or something?
Clap hand, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think washer jets need adjusting a bit. That got me.
You're done. Cut. Yucky's in for a bit more work.
There you go.
Yeah. I think that'll be alright, actually. I think it's... We are doing a fuel tank. The fuel gauge sender doesn't work. So we've grounded out the wires. These work slightly different in Cortina, in that an open circuit gives a full deflection because the gauge has a sort of internal ground circuit, and then it pulls down when you connect the sender. So they work the opposite way. So if you pull a wire off the sender on this vehicle, it makes the gauge go full. Now we're getting a virtually grounded out gauge showing empty, but it does vary from empty to like a quarter, but even when the tank's full, so something's not right. I put the resistance meter, the ohms meter, on the gauge wire, and when you slosh the tank around, it varied a little bit, but not what I expect. I'd expect between 0 and 30. We mocked up some resistors. Just trying to just touch the top of the tank, Rich. I can't see if the camera's on. Where's your hand? I don't even know where we are. Can't see a damn thing these days with these eyes of mine. I'm trying to get you on the sender itself. That's come in for the viewers at home. Got to be over the sender there. Yeah, we are over the sender there. Pandemic's changed everything for dogs. Get nutted. Look at him muzzle your dog. Right. Anyway, we're going to pull the sender out. We suspect the bowl might be flooded or punctured, which we hope it is, or the resistance track, the carbon track. It's coming out. It's coming out. Hang on a minute. Let me get you, bitch. I can't even see you. Stay still. Where's his hand? Right. Coming out. Let's see what we've got. Something's not right with it anyway. I mocked up some resistors, folks, and it worked with a resistance mock-up. 15 ohms giving me half a tank, 30 ohms giving me full. Sorry, opposite way round, 30 ohms giving me empty. what I'm saying is that I'm trying to work out the orientation of the camera. I cannot see. Let me center it. I think I've got it now. I think I got you now. All of that before was all a lot of nonsense. I've got you now. Sorry about that crap camera work before. My camera, you have to double hit the holding it.
It's got a black order on it.
Oh my god!
I've said it all.
Whoa! Oh! You joke, honestly.
Honestly, let's go out in the light.
Oh my god, no wonder this doesn't work. We suspected it might be a float because it behaved as though it was a float. By mocking up the resistors, we were getting what we expected to see at the gauge on the dash. We rocked the car and it sort of altered the resistance, but not in the way you'd expect with a float. So we did suspect the float, and with Richard's laughter and my crap camera work, this car's full of botches. Or is it cork? It's cork, but it ain't right. It's knackered anyway, that ain't gonna float anywhere.
Feel the weight of it. It
weighs a ton. Oh my god. Whatever that is. Maybe it was supposed to be cork in the old days. I don't know. They've just put cork on it, haven't they? It could. Whoa. Oof. Oof.
That's probably half of that, isn't it?
This needs servicing. Let's get it on the bench. Come on. On the bench. I wonder what the hell Richard had seen then when he burst out laughing. On the bench. This is what benches are for. Yeah, it's got to be good, honey. The only time we don't laugh here is when we hear about Chris's Astra. Then we just go into teeth extractions.
Deep depression.
Deep depression. Bastard with that Astra. Right. Yeah. Should we pinch a Cortina float and adapt one?
Yeah. Not that nice new one.
No, we've got a nice one from Motormobile here. But that's for one of my cars.
That's for Ramble.
There's on the board. I did bring in a gauge the other day.
You did?
The knackered one. We can nick the float off that and bend the wire. So we're going to adapt, so no wonder. But before we do anything, well, we'll get this off. And then I'll measure the resistance on this and make sure it gives our deflection to the book. I think it's between 0 and 30 ohms. They vary. You can get them between 0 and 90. You can get them between 0 and 15, depending. But what we do now is just get the ohmage gauge, and just Richard will clip on. Doesn't even look like that. Can't be. Nah, you're not. You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious, Richard. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god, isn't it?
Yeah. There's evidence of. Is that blue Hollymark there?
Yeah, we'll have to make a new gasket for
Someone's
it.
been gunking that up. What a mess that is. Right, go to the lowest ohmage, which is 200 ohms. Clip on to anywhere on the earth. And then somewhere clean on the edge. You could go on that tag there. Oh no, that'll stop your deflection.
Yeah.
It's right there, but your oil's going to mess you up. And then onto that, expecting readings. There we go. Okay, 1 ohm, and then up we go. Yeah, that's working perfectly. Probably to 30, and it is to 30. Perfectly working gauge. No problem with a knackered float. So it tried to do it, but it couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, Richard initially said it'll be flooded. We didn't expect to see that. Joke. It could be factory, you know, and it's just gone. Maybe they put cork on them and it's gone. It seems strange. I mean,
We've got a bit of a woodworm in there.
that's very, very. That is mutated woodworm.
Yeah.
Right. We'll go and steal a Mk3 Cortina float and connect it up to that. Should give us a working fuel gauge, folks. I told you I kept putting pieces of Cortina into this car. We now have a float. And we're going to shape. We need this hook shape here. Where am I? There. So luckily there's enough cable
And that was our disaster in the tank.
Cork. Probably is factory, and the cork's just gone. Looked like a block of wood at first, it's very badly gone. So, here we are. A bit of curving, so what do we want? We'll use these lovely things, I reckon, folks. I'll take those. Take these. And then we'll shape as we go to get our new float fitted. So it wants to be the same orientation. So if that was there and that was there, yeah, that would be it. That'd be what it wants to be. Can we shape? Can we shape? I'm sure we can. Depends on how stiff the cable is. Yep, it's going easily. Then we might have to snip the excess. This is just trial and error, everybody. But we knew these are those resistors I was telling you about. These are 5 ohms, and I knew the range by googling on this particular sender anyway, on the Chevrolets and the 57s. In fact, a lot of the Yankees had an operating range of 0 to 30 ohms. So by slowly introducing these into the sender wire, I was able to simulate different tank level positions, knowing that the gauge was right and that the cabling was okay. So it all pointed to either faulty resistance scale, which is rare because they're pretty reliable. That's the resistance box here. It's a sliding potentiometer, or it's actually a rheostat. The difference between a potentiometer and a rheostat is a rheostat limits current, whereas a potentiometer alters resistance. So these are current limiting devices. And on the American setup, as opposed to Cortina, you have 3 wires to your gauge: positive, a ground, permanent ground. You have a regulator as well, which stops fluctuations. But then the gauge itself creates the pull down to ground, which then offsets the permanent negative, giving you the deflection. And that's how it works downtown. An easy repair meant the tank didn't have to come all the way out, and we, more importantly, didn't have to drain the tank. We had to get a full tank of juice, so we were running on 40 litres in that tank. I didn't look forward to siphoning that out. We'll get this little clip in soon. Trial and error gets this. We'll leave you with this while we shape it. But we're going to be on and running very soon. And in the game. I'll put a new cable on this as well. That cable's a bit frayed. That's down to me, electrical. We'll be right back. Right, we're building a new cable for it. So a blade male at one end, a new eyelet at this end. Richard arm, Pete takes over. About time I did something, isn't it? About time I did something, Richard.
I'm saying nothing.
These on already, just to hold it. Solder this time. We don't like crimps around it. Done that end, and then the important end. I've crimped that. Took the outer sheathing off it because I don't like them. Solder on, then heat shrink. Away she flows. Then a little bit of heat shrink won't do no harm. Why not? Why not? This end first because it's cooled down. A bit enough to slide in at the other end. About right there. Over we go here, just about. Still a little bit. Tell you what. Make life easy on myself. It's lined up and ready. Heat gun in a sec. And that's our new cable. Grab it here. We are ready to heat shrink on. Our float is in. We're going to clean this. We'll check the filters, it's okay. A new Jubilee on there. That's working normally. There's your rheostat there. Nothing wrong. We don't fail. We don't often fail. And then clean this. Then we'll make a paper gasket. We've got gasket paper, so we'll cut one out and then punch the holes. Should go back in the tank, and we can now tell how much fuel we've got. It's been quite annoying for me guessing. Heat shrink, and we'll be right back. Cleaning up, ready for the gasket. Paper cup, quite handily, is the right diameter, and the bottom of the paper cup is the internal diameter, so you have yourself a nice, what we'd call concentric is the word, when two circles fit evenly within each other. Concentric circles. Language is a great thing. At Cortina City we always like to improve our language vocabulary skills. Clean, clean, clean it. Bit of rock music in the background, hopefully not picking up. I don't think it will.
Nice and clean, time for a gasket.
Let's get the gasket paper. I believe to be located in here. Around somewhere will be gasket paper, will be, yep. We are organised here at Cortina City. So organised. Right. We'll get ourselves a fuel gauge. Cable done. Gasket time, folks. We'll be right back with the mark out. It's fun, fun, fun. Till your daddy took the T-bird away. We'll be back. Gaskets cut using the paper cup, and now handy bit of brass tubing to punch our Sharpie marked holes. So we're getting there. We'll get yucky with his fuel. It might start stacking. You can pick it out if it does. And here we have our completed sender, nicely wired. Protective coating on, just bolt and braces really, that. And then our connectors at the end, so just stops any chafing. I don't like bare wires under tanks, never did, never have. Gasket, but we're going to test it first. We expect now to get proper deflection on the gauge. I'll film the gauge while Richard operates the unit. Let's go, into the boot of Yucky we go. Approaching the radio, volume down a touch. Rod Stewart, good song though. The coldest winter in over 40 years. Buffalo froze in the frozen fields, you know. A bit of Rod.
Rodders.
You've got male to male. We've got a union for that. Did I mess up? No, that's the old wire. That's a redundant wire. Oh no, it's not. Okay, I messed up. I should have put a receptacle at this end. Whoops, I've buggered up. Should have been a receptacle. Oh no, there's a joiner. There's a joiner there. It's male to male, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter if not. I've buggered up. OCD. I'll have to get this right first. I thought we was going into female. Whoops. Oh, I could change this to
Female,
because that's crap. Okay, hang on a minute, folks. We'll be right back. Pete's buggered up. And now for the moment of truth of testing. Ignition on. I'm ready to look for readings. Yeah. No, I got nothing here. I'm not even going up. That's weird because we shorted that wire out and it did it. It should go to full tank, shouldn't it? Yeah. Unplug it and see if it goes to full tank. We are on the right wire, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah, see now we're not on full tank, we were before. No, we're totally dead. We need to investigate the situation because that was working. Whoops, caught the camera. Oh, we'll be right back. We've got a technical issue.
Filming.
It didn't work. Yeah, what we wanted. There's a good reason for that. Variable resistances were all over the place. We should be getting between 0 and 30. We did initially, however, look what's happened. This tang was on its way out and it's finally snapped off. It was hardly making contact, which was giving us erratic readings. So we've got a double fault, float, and the connecting strap, as you would call it. Luckily a very easy item to repair. We'll just solder it back on. I would imagine the track inside here, the rheostat track, is okay. I can actually check that now. I would look by putting the meter on 200 ohms, going onto that pin. I should get a bit more consistent readings. We were getting stuff all over the place. That's got a stand built into the back of my meter. I never use it. Right, so no ohms on empty, going up to 30 on full, so it works. No ohms on empty, about 15. I guess 15. I guess 16. Not bad. So half a tank. So it's linear. In other words, each motion creates the same amount of resistance per degree. So it's a linear scale. Can get logarithmic ones which will accommodate curvature in your fuel tank. So your level of your tank in a shallow part would alter quite drastically, and they compensate for that by putting a logarithmic resistance on it. But this is probably quite a square tank, I would say, with no scallops in it. Therefore this is a linear scale from 0 to 30 ohms, working perfect. So that's check strap there, it snapped, and it was probably creating a resistance. I thought it was a bit weird, and that's what it was. So double fault, folks, but our gasket's complete. I don't know where it's gone, but it looks very nice. Where's that gasket?
Yeah, put it over there,
Okay,
ready to go back on the car.
Well, soldering iron on, see if we can connect this strap, bit of sandpaper, clean up, and we'll solder. We'll see you in a sec. Okay, gauge earthed out, strap soldered up and back on nicely. Luckily that strap was very accommodating to the solder. Ignition is on here. What setting are you on now?
Full.
Yeah, full. And then drop it to 0. Down she goes.
0.
And we're on, heading to 0 now. Yep, empty tank. We're running. Go half.
Out there.
Yeah, just creeping up to half now. It's fixed, it's running, we're on. We've got ourselves a fuel gauge. Let's bolt it all back together. We've got a lovely gasket that we've made. We'll put a little bit of sealant on that gasket. What, you can use RV?
RV, yeah.
Great. Oh, fixed fuel gauge. Let's refit. At least we now, because we've been guessing, I've just been basically filling the tank. And I don't know if it's on this video yet. It might be as a clip at the end, but I got some serious abuse at a petrol station. And a rare occasion when you see Pete C kick off, we're all capable of it. It's not anything to be proud of. Oh yeah, but I'm afraid I did kick off with this guy. I gave him both barrels. Didn't I, Rich?
Yeah.
Was I a man, Rich? Was I a man? Did I explore my testosterone? He goes, it's people like you. Why there's no petrol in the... People like you in these cars. Why there's no petrol? I said, hook off, and then just revved it. Brown! He really wound me up. There's actually no logic to it. And I was going to start saying stuff like, what's the CO footprint on your car compared to mine? You know what I mean? This car's been running for how many years? 1957 to now. It's a long time. I'm going to need a calculator for that one. Yeah, well, I like to know these things. 2021, take away 1957. 64 years where no cars have been made. This has carried on running, and his car, his little Kia, that'll be recycled in a year. It's a Kia in a year. They talk about people like you with these cars while there's no fuel. What a dickhead. I think we'll keep that clip in, but please don't write in and say, Pete, you have swearing. I'll bleep the swearing out, but I gave him both barrels. In fact, Richard was that traumatised, he had to turn the camera off. Time to get messy with the RV. And now lining up the holes. Of our fuel tank sender for Yucky, our 57 Olds. Mark's garage will like this one, he's running a Thunderbird. Definitely time to get mucky with Yucky.
Mucky with Yucky.
You're only going on one side.
No, I want to do both. I just want to line the holes up first. It's a long room.
That's where we're heading up there. I think I fixed the focus on the camera now, folks. It won't do macro, but there's a little picture of a mountain and a picture of a landscape, and that was the setting. I'm learning this camera. Good camera. It's a Pocket Osmo, by the way. Pocket 2 DJI. DJI Osmo Pocket, if anyone that wants to know. Is this a better system of than them pump? It is, isn't it?
The pump ones, these are brilliant.
Wonder where the pressure's held. Is it pressurised?
So it's, yeah,
It's gotta be. I wonder how long it takes for that to jam up.
Doesn't, because you get a nice little lid that goes on it. As long as you put the lid on, you're cooking. Which I need to find now.
There.
Once you put that on.
Well, we'll see. I'm still not convinced. I know they're a lot better. Simply just the application of it. Why they didn't come up with that in the first place, I don't know. Nothing worse than getting a tube of Tiger Seal, using it for
one use only.
One use only, and the rest of it gone. They don't mind, but everyone else does. Tank about to pickle through. What's that? What's that smell? Petrol coming out your pickled tank. Can you remember the orientation? Is it an offset bolt hole that allows only one position? And this is where we find out that our Cortina float doesn't go in. Like it does because it's smaller than the cork crap. Origami. I think it's one of my jobs. I'm a contortionist. Richard doesn't do as good with contortion. I'm very good with yoga. I'm top of my yoga class. I'm the bendiest in the yoga class. After all these years. Pete is still a flexible friend. Focus and working great now. Viewers will now be satisfied before we got the comments. Good video, but the focusing. Yeah, no, we're on. Hell, we might even treat it to an overhead shot. How good are we? Looking after the viewers at home. Has they found anything like that? This is a tricky bit. I could actually use the camera to assist you. Left a bit, up a bit, down a bit, right a bit.
Freaking working blind.
An angled pick could help.
Fishing, we'll find one.
Are you with us at home still? Type and quaff away. Chris Bradley, drunk as a lord, as usual. Ali Mack out there. Ali Mack back on the Mac attack. Simon Perrin back on the attack. Back on the Photoshop.
Mr. Photoshop. I've got one. Yeah.
course, that doesn't guarantee you. It's the second one that guarantees it, isn't it?
Yeah. This one's a
I
bronze.
had an idea before for this lovely sheathing, that plastic sheathing I've fitted.
Yeah.
We could weld to the petrol tank like P-clips to hold it in.
Yeah, I'll wait in the house while you do that.
The welder out and just weld.
Oh, yeah, get it on full.
I'll just put it on with that sticks like shite tube stuff. Looks like the Addams family, this, mate.
Wow.
This needs Sean, he's Uncle Fester, Sean. Not seen him for a chippy chat, actually. Need to get him back on the chippy chats.
Yeah. Yeah, where's our little pick?
You're going to pick to line up. Do you want me to bring that? I've got it. Angle one, because you'll not get it. Oh. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Just lever it into the exact round position. And I might be able to get my head in if you want.
Bright light. That one there,
I could probably get it better from here, you know.
Yeah. I think I've got that one now.
Well, you get the idea, folks. We're screwing the tank back in.
Yeah.
We're not going to film anymore.
Feel me struggling.
We'll be right back, folks. This will go. You know it will. With the fuel gauge successfully installed, we're now onto a battery tray. There's no battery tray for this. Of course, because it's a Mopar engine, there was no room in the bay for the battery. So they installed it in the boot, but they didn't put a battery clamping system in. So back to Valentino's engineering department. We build angle iron. Watch that paint work, Rich. You're close there. We're making our own hooks. So we'll hook round here with some 8mm threaded bar. 2 runs of angle iron pre-drilled. And we'll make a battery clamp. Get that battery safe. So a couple of double bends, or a U-bend. Yeah, I'll get close to the car. And Henry from the scrapyard is back in the game with his new motor. Although I must admit, curiosity is making me want to take the old motor apart and just see what failed on it. I'm going to guess the brushes, not the windings, because it was a sudden fail as opposed to a smoke out. Anyway, that's a subject for something else. Way, it's where heat is required, porta pack needed. Building a hook. Always gonna go without heat. We have got the small propane thing, but I don't think we'll have the power to do it, and I'm out of gas, although the propane gas is in there. Yeah. Could do it, it has got power. Let's give it a try before we bring the porta pack in. One go. Well, it didn't take long for the welder to come back out. So we'll burn the camera out. Exhaust didn't quite fit. What had they done, Rich? Put a crap patch piece on it.
They just put a patch with a clamp on it.
To get an angle, because they hadn't when they built the exhaust, they mustn't have took into account the fuel filler neck coming down. They've cloned the exhaust left and right, but it just didn't work for this side because of the fuel filler neck. So instead they sliced it and put a crap bandage on it, which wasn't properly welded. It was probably done in situ. They must have risked it by the tank. Anyway, we've took it off. We've sliced here We've got a nice joiner piece, proper professional pipe clamp. So altering the exhaust while we've got the car up for the fuel tank job, may as well. Let's go, let's get this fitted. Tacks all the way around at first to get the tension. And luckily, or unluckily, it's not stainless. A mild steel. Cheapskates.
Alright.
Eyes. Richard didn't want to do the welding, so I carried on. What a lovely job. Rich wasn't quite up to it, so Pete took over. When are you going to get back to the welding? Okay, so Richard's done that, I haven't. Well, I must admit, how much better is the red line welder? We say you're not meant to blame the tools, but this welder is better than the last one. Got to hand it to the welder. It's a bit more consistent, isn't it?
It's a lot more consistent.
Okay, let's get this fitted. We've got, where's that sleeve? Is it on the car?
On the car.
Look at this for a sleeve. It's brilliant. There it is. The proper pro job. Proper joining sleeve. Let's get to work. Another day on Yucky sees us now with the fuel gauge fixed. It's Speedo cable time. We've got a rattling Speedo. We think it's the cable. Pulled the inner out because the actual full cable itself would be very naughty to extract. It goes behind the blooming brake servo. So, carb cleaner we used till it dribbled out the end of the cable here. Richard's got this end. Then compressed air went through it to blast out the stuff. We pulled the liner out. You pull the liner out from the head end, one way, and then 3-in-1. Now, people will be saying, oh, use this and use that, but 3-in-1's the one, I'm afraid, guys. Graphite, no. Big no-no. For me, I googled it. Someone said graphite, someone said ATF, someone said this, someone said that. I'm worried about using GT85, so I've gone for this. And I'll be letting you know how it goes, 3-in-1. So just right at the end here, you can see I've extracted the cable from the back of the head or the Speedo unit. It's been flushed out. There it is, right in the middle of your screens. Richard now has good tidings and reports that the 3-in-1's made it out down here. So we're clean. So all I've got to do now is reinsert the inner, which is just there, and then it should feel nice and spinny. Am I right, Richard, when you turned it earlier, it felt like it was snagging?
Snagging and rattling.
Snagging and rattling. Right, well, let's hope that it doesn't snag and rattle. This liner, the inner, the core's been cleaned. So it seems in good order. There was a kink at the end, but we straightened that in the vise. This end had a slight kink in it, an offset kink, but I wouldn't have thought that would have done anything. Kink? Think? What? Right, I'm pushing in. There won't be much to report here, Mr. Richard, except you'll see a cable appear. I'm glad that we don't have to take the whole cable out. I'm glad that it's not snapped or frayed. However, I'm very concerned at the sharp, again another kink, the sharp turn trapped behind this bulkhead plate for the brake servo. I do not like the way that the cable takes its route down there. There's a little sort of concaved shape here which it allows for the cable, and I think it's quite acute, but we'll see. We're going to push this in now and just see if we get free movement, because the Speedo was rattling like hell. And when I got the car, actually it was disconnected from the gearbox end. They've probably not investigated it as thoroughly as what we have, based upon all the other things we've had to do. Battery tray's in. I don't know if I filmed the completed battery tray. I don't think I did, and I've just shut the lid. Remind me to film the battery tray, Rich. Okay, boss, let's try this. See you in a sec. Okay, cleaning up the cable and reinserting it into the liner has not worked. It's still rattling, and our worst fears, it's rattling inside the Speedo head. But we have a cunning plan. With compressed air,
WD-40, remove the liner. Hold on, I'm not ready yet. What we do, the noise that it's making is a similar noise that I hear on motor fans when the brass bushing dries out. It's like it's binding. So it's hard to take the dash out. It can be done. As I turn the end of the Speedo drive, I feel the binding on my fingers. Now it's hard to get oil into there. WD-40 is good, then 3-in-1's better. So our cunning plan is Pete's cunning plan. Take the liner out, screw the empty cable back onto the Speedo dash and force feed oil inside the workings of the Speedo. It's only a drag cup, so there's not much moving parts in there. You've got a hairspring, a drag cup, you've got the actual input shaft, and that'll be where the noise is coming from. So our theory is pressurize it with first WD-40, then 3-in-1, and hopefully we think it's working, because it's felt a lot better just then with the compressed air here and Richard loaded up. I now go underneath the dash and reconnect back up the blank, just an outer sheathing if you will, basically almost connecting an airline to the clocks, and we're going to blast oil into there. Now you could argue it could fly out into the face of the instrument, but it's a gamble we're going to have to take, because otherwise it's dash out, which without the workshop manual is tricky, and with the workshop manual it's probably still tricky. Let's go for the easy option, our ingenious way. Have you ever marvelled at it? Beauty, it's a wonder. Have you ever marvelled at this beauty? Let's go. Let's try it. I'm going under. I'll be right back. Okay, Rich, hit me and hit me good. I'm connected. Pressure the system. Reload. Reload with WD. That's it. 3-in-1 I meant. Sorry. Yep. I'll try and get my hand. Oh, like being a gynecologist. This. I feel air pressure. Yeah, I got air coming out. Reload, reload, reload. The viewers at home can't really see what's going on. Whoa! I'm just gonna have a feel to see if it's actually making it through. I think you might need a bit more in there. Hey, what if I dribble it in at this end as well? No, it's coming through. It's on my hand. Right. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, it's coming through. We're on. We've got 3-in-1 going into the instrument.
Yeah, one more it.
Right. I'm taking off. That's it for that. Now I'm going to feel for binding. It's a lot smoother. It's not even making that grating feeling on my fingers now.
No.
I can't feel it sort of dragging. I think it was the bushing. Looks like we're in, guys. We may have saved ourselves a lot of time here. Hang on. Hold on. For the viewers at home, the sacrifices we make at Cortina City. I just went underneath here. And I'm now turning. You can't see it. All you can see is some crazy angle. There is a tingy noise, Rich. But it's not. It might just be the needle. It's not got that crunching sound, that binding feeling that it was having.
The grating noise.
Yeah, that's gone. Now all I can hear now is the drag cup. It does sound like it could still be noisy. It could be failed, but it's definitely not got that.
Horrible grate.
Why don't we just get the Cortina cable and we'll do it free without a sheathing and just see. Oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll put the Give us the liner and we'll just reconnect. We'll be right back.
You got it there?
No, it's I'm stuck. I actually can't reach. I've sort of locked up here. If I move my hand, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, lads. I got a great idea. We'll be right back. We're going down in the country, down in the country. Cream. Down in the country. I shall now reconnect. You've got no choice but to put the drill on it. Other way.
No, locking the drill onto it.
Smooth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've done it.
Yeah.
Are you in? We've fixed the Speedo. You did 100, 70. 75.
Yeah.
Not a noise from that head. So it was a binding bush, folks, and just shows you how sometimes with a little bit of lateral thinking, the Speedo's going backwards. The numbers are counting in it's A. The numbers are going backwards on this clock. So 56099 has now gone 56. Stuck on 10. Is yours still a bit sticky? That's better. But the numbers are going. The Speedo's right, but and the other thing I noticed, you know, as well, that I thought was weird. I got the radio going, right, and it only plays 50s songs. It's stuck. No matter what station you tune it, it's just 1950s all the time. 1950s music, but it's shortwave. I don't know how. I don't know. You'll have to let. So we have to write in and let me know about this and why the Speedo is reading okay, but the odometer goes the opposite way. Write in and let me know about that one. We're done, Rich. We did well. It's running that. We're gonna talk you through what we just did. Now, the thing about these car shows with this, you bang your head on this all the time. So I'm gonna have to, if I take it to a show, I'm gonna have to put something on it. I don't know what, like a cloth or something, to warn people. Anyway, that's something else. Let's go to the whiteboard. Get the pen, and this is to help anyone who's got an old car. I don't know if yellow equals negative. What was that? Oh, that was the motor. We don't need that.
That was for the fan, that.
We don't need that. What was that blue?
That was showing Chris.
Oh yeah. For the mobiliser thing. Right, okay, so we got the Speedo head. How could I draw that? Like it's an oval on this one. Oval Speedo. At the back is the mechanism, and then they've got the threaded, what you call the ferrule, then the cup and the cable, if you can follow this at home. So that's threading onto it, and then the actual drive cable goes right through in and down to the gearbox. So gearbox is here, side of the box, round we go and in. So we took the liner out, then we flushed out the sheathing we used brake cleaner to do it, then compressed air, blew it all out so it was clean. Then 3-in-1 the little drive shaft, the cable, the inner sleeve, it's a square at each end. It's got a one-way clip on it, so you can only extract it from the head end, you can't extract it from the gearbox end, there's a little blocker. Put that back in, still rattled, so Speedo gauge was. Now then, inside it
There's a brass bushing here, and this is probably common on a lot of Speedos, like the brass bearing bushing. Then it goes into the drag cup, which is a cup shaped like that. Then inside that is the actual needle itself. So as that drag cup spins, you get the eddy currents which create a magnetic field, drags the needle round. But that bit was alright, because there's not much there to go wrong. You've got a hairspring here as well, that could snap. If that snaps, you're gone, you'll take it apart. But this brass bushing here is probably the fault. As I got my fingers and thumbs behind the dash and came in and twisted the end of the coupling, you could feel a point where it was binding. So brass bushing, then little collar, obviously a brass, then the shaft goes inside that, and that part there was dry. So by pressurizing up at the bottom with the compressed air tank, that's a compressed air tank with little wheels on it, handle at the back, compressed air in to this point, Richard fed in the 3-in-1 WD first. It blasted out the end of here, then I connected it to the Speedo, then we pressurized it up, so it's forced it onto the brass bushing and lubricated it without us having to take it all to bits. So that saved some time. It might help you if you've got the same problem where your Speedo goes okay, sorry about the sound effects. Job done. Next we've got the starter motor here underneath the engine bay. Starter motor, it's got a lead cable to the solenoid here, 2 studs on the solenoid, that to the battery. This cable here we're very suspicious about. It feels crunchy, it's been drawing a lot of current. We think that the resistance on this cable has gone high. A lot of heat coming in from the exhaust. We're going to wrap the exhaust in some of that insulating stuff. This motor was the initial problem with the car when I bought it. We cured it by doubling up to this point with an extra power cable to the battery. That helped a lot, but we still get the odd lazy start, and that's probably because of this feed cable direct to the starter motor. It looks crunchy. We've made a new one up. We go under, this is a job for Richard now because it's nasty and horrible, and replace that, and then those jobs should be done. So we're making good progress there, folks. Oh, he's even found it. That looks nice. Yeah, let's get that fitted. Next job. Let's go. Cool. Get on the Marrakesh Express. 3-in-1 oil, someone might ask about. Because it's not, I don't know if it's specific to UK or not. Is it specific to, where's, oh here it is. No. Is it specific or not? No. Right, so 3-in-1 is, where is it? Multi-purpose oil. That's 3-in-1 that we used. It's been around for years and years and years. If we would have just used WD, it could eventually have faded. So I always use 3-in-1. When I used to work on machines that had extractor fans on, we always use 3-in-1. And also I use it on the distributor shaft, little felt pad on these distributor shafts. Those little self-oiling sponge felt type pads. Oh, it's cable time. Looks tight down there, Rich.
Not too bad.
Don't need to disconnect the battery for this because it's the open side of the solenoid. We'll get on and get this cable in. Where do we nick this from? A BMW?
Yeah, another transit bit.
Another Ford going in. Keep it family Ford. Another transit bit going in. Our heater box working great, by the way. It's toast, our valve operating very nicely indeed. Happy to see the focusing back, so sorry about the previous 45 minutes of slightly out of focus close shots. That's to do with the effect of macro. So this camera here, this DJI Osmo 2 handheld gimbal camera, has a basically infinity setting and a mid-range setting. It's on the mid-range setting, which means that when you come in on something like this, I get a little focusing box showing up, and it'll do its best to get the close-up detail autofocus. Doesn't do macro as such. Example, this radiator cap, you probably won't be able to read the finer print because the lens on this can't do it, although if you had a large enough screen at home, you would be able to read that. That's not a mega thing, it's a good all-round camera. With the stabilisation on it, I can shake it. I mean, I was shaking you, and you're just moving slightly, whereas I'm doing quite a violent right-handed handshake. Right-handed handshake. Similar to when you work a solid shaft, like a prop shaft or something like that. Yanking it up and down to get the relief that you need. I want to swear, but I can't. But bloomin' heck, that came off quick. You can get a cream for that, mate. That's certainly, you certainly finished the job quick there. There's like a delay spray for you, I think. Mate, try the plus gas fast release. No, that's when we get in our 60s. If you want to go down the dark side, some clipper gas up the derriere. We digress.
Finish off with a nice cherry.
Pop your cherry, like. You got a lot. How old are you now? You still not pop your cherry? Oh dear me. We delved in. You always know Cortina City's back when the innuendos begin to roll. Took a while, but we got there in the end. We're on the surgeon's bench, and this is made by. Well, it is a flex cable. They've done it purposely, a land flex, so it is supposed to do that. But we always thought this was suspect. This cable. I'm gonna do the surgical operation, filleting a fish. If it was really bad, I'd expect discoloration of the copper, so slightly darker copper. Now this has cooked. We felt this cook, but it could be all right. No, there's a discoloration. That's been frazzled, mate. There you go. That's been heating really hot. I never really liked that. Whoa! Started to break down. I never really liked that design. Oh no, look, it's all started to break down. So what's been happening there? Our Superflex cable is not, or a land flex cable isn't as flexible a friend as you would have thought. Losing current there, breaking down. Oh, all the strands are starting to break, and that isn't the knife that's done it, because I've only just slipped on the top that way. I've not gone that way, so you can see these are breaking up, showing that it's poor. It's just no good. I won't be taking many passengers in that, so that's a mess. That's a mess. Goodbye. Cut.
I have to go around that.
Loop.
Get hotspots in, won't we? Take it over there.
I saw that advert on today about your dog, how your dog suffered with COVID, suffered from COVID.
The effects of COVID.
On your dog. They'll come up with anything. What about cats, you know?
Oh yeah.
Never noticed any problems with my cats during COVID. Oh, I remember when they said cats could carry COVID or something.
Yeah, when they wandered around.
Unbelievable. Pathetic. People still got masks on.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
That
Well, when the fuel crisis, just the other day, that petrol pump madness, I saw someone getting bog rolls and fuel. You see that one where a woman filled up emptying water bottles and putting petrol in? In water bottles.
Nice.
Pathetic. Aren't people stupid?
Go on with carrier bags next.
Power to media. I wonder why I didn't go on YouTube for 3 months.
Yep.
Hooking up the last end, hard bits on. 13s. A lovely battery tray is in. A for tray. That secures it a lot better. Don't know if I filmed that. If I didn't, that's the completed article. 2 straps going across, box section down the bottom, caps back on. So the battery is now secure. Exhaust has been tweaked by Mr. Richard V. Some very nasty work of botchery was going on that exhaust system. Whoever did it, it was touching the chassis, the mounts were in the wrong places, so now we shouldn't have as much vibration on the chassis. Down we go for a road test, see if the Speedo works. We've not got the horn ring fixed, there's a part missing on the horn ring. We can't get that to work, but I'll have to investigate the missing components of the horn ring. That's for a future job, but for now we're gonna go road testing. See you on the road in a sec. We're out for a road trip. Speedo works. We've got misty up windows, and we did a job on this whereby let's just see how she fires us. Oh, I'll just be 5 minutes. I'm just at the shop up the road. Okay, bye. Sorry about that. Calls must be taken. Where were we? Yeah, we did the demister. We want to see if it works. So we've now misted up and it's raining. We also did the intermittent wipers, so they don't. Oh yeah, they do work. Sorry about that. They do work. They don't work on the setting position, but I think the wires come off on the motor actually, rather than the switch. So that's good. Do we demist? Well, there's only one way to find out. And do we fire up? We're slow a little bit, but we do fire up. And then we press defrost. It boosts. We should get a clear. It's going straight away. We are demisting. So that's good. Real road test, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you now, Richard. Situations like this, winter is approaching. There's snow up on the ground. Got a USB hookup. Our park brake light here. USB. We've got park brake. Our lights there. Brake release. Well, let's let our windows defrost a little bit more. Yeah. All there. Just about. Just let's defrost. Going. Not as good as a Cortina, but it is going. Gets us out of it. So it might take a minute just to clear. Not on there, is it? Heaters are good.
Tropical.
We are tropical. Oh, mine's clearing. It's clearing. Because we didn't have that at all, you see, so we were stuck. We're nearly clear.
Cameras all over.
Double press for centering.
On the left one.
Right, 2 clicks. We're going to wrap this film. We've done enough. Oh, fuel gauge is great as well. We've got to work in fuel gauge, folks. We've got to work in fuel gauge. Find it, I'll double click it. Oh, you got it. Tilt down. There you go. We've got to work in fuel gauge. We've got to demist. When you switch your demist off to direct heat, drops the speed down, so that's working. That noise you heard then was the flap vibrating up. I think we can leave this parking bay now. I will have to put this window down, it's not that good. We're going to call it a day at Cortina City. We hope you enjoyed the video. Take on a little quick spin. Richard will film a 3/4 about there. Coming out slowly, weather conditions are bad. I'll open up the taps for you in a sec. Yeah, we're demisted nicely, that is good. I'll open the taps up in a sec. Here we go, clear for going, clear for going. Open the taps up. Mopar! Mopar, ladies and gentlemen,
screen is clear. I'm so very happy the Speedo's working. Wobbles a bit, but it'll get better. No problem. A little bit of wobble, a little bit. Look at that wiggle. Look at that wiggle. Look at that wiggle. Look at that wiggle. I like the way those screens cleared, which I really do. I'm happy about that. Looks like we can take the parking brake off, guys.
That and over and out for us.
That's over and out for us. We'll see you on the next episode. We've had some fun doing this, I can tell you. Mopa! Okay. So, boss.
Okay, boss.
Okay, boss. Oh, full fat, eh? The real stuff. Essential food stop, always has to be done. What will Chris say? Missing out on Christopher Bradley. Christopher Bradley. Ho 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 ho. You miss out, boy. It's fresh cod. Fresh in from Fleetwood Fish Market. That's what we need. Fresh cod. Will the batter be as good though as Banks's? Could be. Who knows? Looks alright to me. We're very good boys. Just a bit of fish. Whilst we get ready to head back, because I'll keep saying I've got to wrap this film, because I've got to wrap this film. But we're on Coronation Walk. It's a sort of very fairgroundy road in the Yuxter. Have a little round. It's the end of the season, so it's quieter than it would be, but the last dregs of the season. We'll catch you all very soon. I hope you get an appetite at the end of the chat box. Stick your messages in there. Any super chatters out there? Come on, you super chatters. Last minute now towards the petrol fund for this car has now gone up. So all super chatters that were £5 are now £50. We don't even know what the fuel gauge reads. But did you see that crazy guy before? Do you know what he said to me? He said, "It's people like you that why the fuel's running out." God, what a tosser. Unbelievable. You couldn't see it. Richard didn't film because he was worried about the swearing, but I really give him some back. There was some "see you next Tuesdays" in there, I'm afraid, but we'll bleep them out. But I'm not having some guy come up to me giving me that. You know, what's the logic on that one? People like you, why there's a fuel shortage? Joker. Anyway, on that note, we've had fun. We've done the heater box, we've done the vacuum controls. We love all the way the controls work. You want to see that it's still going nice? Watch this. Remember we did that? Look at this switch. Boom! Intermittence and down for constant. Nice action on the switch as well. Loving the action on the switch. So we'll call it a day. Little bonus clip at the end, and we'll see you for the next film on Cortina City. Bye, Rich. Hasta la vista, baby. Out. This is the one car where the speedo goes backwards and the fuel gauge reads the opposite way round. That's Pete's next mission. We're off to review a show. We're not going to review a show, we're going to see if we can get in. It's called the Festival of Fantastic Machines at Southport Pleasureland. So we're going to wind the video up soon. We'll film that for a separate video, but hope you've enjoyed Richard's work. There he is. And our work. Some swarf to clean up on the floor, but all those instruments are working. We've got great control with the wipers now. Just need to do that vac switch, but we'll wind this film down now. We've had enough fun. You've seen Chris out in his car fulfilling his dream. You've seen the heater and vac controls get done on Yucky.
We've got you back up to speed with Cortina City, and don't forget, Papa, the Mk3 with a bench seat that's coming in from British Guiana, will be with us soon, and you'll be tracking that boat as promised. Of course, COVID caused all the delays with Papa, my 3-month hiatus, but I'm getting better now. We'll discuss that another time when I see you in person. I don't want to mention my personal stuff, but we'll talk about it. Suffice to say, with a bit of mental strength, we bounced back. A little bit on the road, some drive-by clips now. Richard will film us so you can hear the Mopar engine. And we'll leave you with some high-speed footage, a little bit of bonus footage at the end. We may even throw in the P6 graveyard footage on this film. If I already have, you've seen it at the beginning of the film. Don't know, because this could be a jamboree film, one of Pete's jamboree comeback films with a mixture of everything just to get you back up to speed. And me get used to filming again because I'm out of the game. I just need a little bit rusty. Let's see what we can do. Oh, it's the high-vis brigade are out now, masked up, a mask outside, a high-vis on. Absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. Take it off, you don't need it. A mask on. For what? For what? Pathetic.
Fuel's running out. Oh, signs are going on.
Uh-oh, we've just lost a pump. Wow, we might not even make it. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Keep it rolling, Rich. Here we go. Come on, let's get the last bit of fuel. Oh, it's Mad Max. Will it run on veg oil? Veg oil, will it run? Supreme's in. We just used a gallon driving forward. In this video, we nearly run out of fuel for fuel crisis. See you in a sec. The clock back, he says there's 2 minutes left. Come on! Fuel crisis! The news! What a joke! Look at it, look at this place. Finished them off. 80 litres of amber nectar. It's done. We did it. To the top. £58. 40 litres. I've nicked all the last of the fuel, it's all gone. Yay! Not great, isn't it? Oh, God. What a tit! I do about 5 miles. Yeah, fucking cunt. Cut.